From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a severe weather alert.
All right, it's currently 11:23 at night. If I could talk, that might be all right. Here at night, I'm Fred Gossage, along with Chase Wilson in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning here over in northern Maury County we need to talk about. And then we're going to start focusing on the storm that's about to move out of Perry County into western portions of Lewis County and maybe clipping northwest Wayne County. It doesn't have a warning yet, but we were actually going on to get ahead of it when this new warning for Maury County got issued. This is until 12:15. A severe thunderstorm warning here that includes the northern third of Maury County, Tennessee. It's still north of Columbia, still north of Mount Pleasant and those areas. It's from here, Santa Fe, Bethel, Kinderhook, over to the Theta community to Spring Hill, the yellow polygon. Severe thunderstorm warning until 12:15. Sorry, the other one was 11:30. This is until 12:15, a new severe thunderstorm warning. Northern portions of Maury County, Tennessee for the storms back in Hickman County that have the continued potential for damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. So you need to be sheltered inside away from windows as the storms approach here over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Now we'll go back down and look at the storm coming out of Perry County toward Lewis County because this has had a tornado warning with it. We'll go to the live Doppler radar here. This is live scanning out of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, our X-band Doppler radar. And it has been transitioning a little from a tornado threat to more of what may be a damaging straight line wind threat. However, this could be some damaging winds of 70, 80 miles an hour along this bow echo we have here in the southeast part of Perry County, east of Sugar Hill, Tennessee. This is coming off to the east-southeast at about 45 miles an hour. Now, we still have the broad rotation back on the northern side of the storm. You can see live Viper's velocity here. The reds are winds moving away from the radar in Lawrenceburg. Bright greens are winds moving towards. So we still have a broad rotation up here just south of Highway 412, southeast of Linden, northeast of Sugar Hill.
And they went severe for that.
Okay, so they are going to do a severe thunderstorm warning for northeast Wayne and portions of Lewis County, Tennessee, because like we talked about, it is transitioning from a tornado threat to more of a straight line wind threat. That's a broad circulation, but you notice the really hot greens here. That's really intense winds, and if we can pixel query a couple of these. Now, this is still a few hundred feet above ground level here, but that 74 mile per hour winds only a few hundred feet above ground level detected by the low level radar data. So that could be some significant wind damage here coming into northern portions of Wayne County through a large part of Lewis County and then into western Maury County here over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Looks like this is a new severe thunderstorm warning until midnight. Let's back out the radar a little bit so we can see the polygon. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning now for western portions of Maury County from Arkland down to Mount Pleasant westward. For the entirety of Lewis County, Tennessee, a severe thunderstorm warning until midnight, and the northern quarter of Wayne County, Tennessee, north of Waynesboro from Clifton over to about Topsy, northward the Flatwoods. That's a severe thunderstorm warning until midnight. Let's draw a storm track along the leading edge of that bow echo and go east-southeast at 45 miles an hour. Let's do some times of arrival here, maybe a little farther south than that.
Oh, surely.
You can go in and custom edit it instead of having to draw again. There we go. All right, so this portion of the line that may have some intense damaging winds of 70 plus miles per hour, the warning says 60, but we see radar data that suggests 70 plus. Sweetwater, Tennessee, 1132. Ashland, 1138. Providence, 1142. Napier in the NACO area, 1149. Summertown, 1159. So Sweetwater would have an arrival time roughly around Hohenwald would, but the higher wind damage may be just south of Hohenwald. That would be roughly 1132 to 1135. Sandy Hook, Tennessee, time of arrival at 1202, Enterprise 1207, and Broadview at 1211. Now, the damaging wind potential with the overall line up into the Centerville area does include places like Poplar Top and the Arkland area, but this portion of the line in southeastern Perry County, that's mainly going to be along and south of Highway 412 in Lewis County And then the far, far, far northern parts of Wayne County, that's where I'm especially concerned about the potential for some damaging straight line winds of maybe 70 to 75 miles an hour. So we'll clear off this track, go on the Arctic Air Skycam network to the Hohenwald camera. I have this thing pointed westward, and you're not going to see a whole lot. You're going to see the lightning frequency here and the current conditions, 68 degrees with a dew point of 65. It's a little out of focus because of the lightning strikes, and it's at night. Southeast wind at 6 miles per hour here. Let me take the new Waynesboro camera, and before we go to that, I will swing us up around to the north, and we'll switch over to the Waynesboro camera. This is from the E911 Center. And you're not going to see a whole lot except when lightning illuminates the storm base here. We're not looking for a wall cloud, tornado, anything like that. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. But you can see the big cloud base here with the line of thunderstorms to the north. You can see how frequent the lightning is. Now, these are live updated conditions right here at the site. We got to get the the wind fixed on the sensors, because what happened, it triggered a wind chill for the first time when the sensors were detected, and that threw off the CSV data. We'll get that fixed here over the next day or so. 68 degrees with a dew point of 63. You can see the lower cloud bases, but not seeing any signs of a tornadic rotation, just really frequent lightning here. Main potential is damaging straight line winds as these storms roll in. We'll clear this off. And since we've hit these two storms, let's go to the Memphis next, Rad. Look at the storms coming across McNairy County that are approaching Harden County, Tennessee. They're knocking on the door, and it's probably going to be just a few more minutes before we may see severe thunderstorm warnings here for Harden County. They just let those warnings expire. So let's see what we see in NWS chat.
Certainly good timing on that, nonetheless.
All right, they don't see anything about the storms here moving into the Selmer area. Let's look at velocity and see what some of the wind speeds look like. Now, this is a few thousand feet above ground. Let's go to base velocity since we're looking at straight line. I don't see anything that looks especially alarming. There is a broad rotation here northeast of Selmer that would head toward Morris Chapel. Again, you're looking 8,000+ feet above ground by the time you get to here. And they're going to use severe thunderstorm warnings. They were just a little delayed with issuing those, but we now have new severe thunderstorm warnings for this cluster. So let's go back to reflectivity. We'll get the polygon here on just a second. This does include Tishomingo County, Mississippi, and Hardin County, Tennessee. Brand new severe thunderstorm warnings.
Yeah, zoom out for you.
Yeah, because it's a big polygon. Essentially, it includes all of Hardin County, Tennessee, and all of Tishomingo County, Mississippi. These are brand new severe thunderstorm warnings coming out until 12:30 here in the morning. And they do mention, although it's not an immediate threat to where they need to issue a tornado warning for it, but they did a little tag on the warning, says a tornado is possible, probably for that little tail end storm back there into North Mississippi, north of Holly Springs, if I had to guess. So new severe thunderstorm warnings for the entirety of Hardin County, Tennessee, and Tishomingo County, Mississippi. Chase, I'm going to let you talk for just a minute while I check on this crawl map here.
Yeah, sure thing. I'll go ahead and throw it over here. And matter of fact, what I'm going to do is go to graphics and do a little bit of a track here. So we're going to go ahead and do what we've been doing with this line of storms. We've been seeing several individual congealed lines, and we're going to draw out just ahead of it, go, I'll call it east-southeast here at 45. So let's get that drawn here. That brings us just into the northwestern portions of Alabama here soon. So let's go over some times here. Cypress at 11:33, Overton at 11:35. We're heading into Crump at 11:37, Stantonville, so we're getting to small communities here at 11:37, Swift at 11:38, Eastview 11:39, Chihuahua at 11:39 as well as Bucktown out there, Cuba at 11:40, Savannah, now that we're heading into the county seats, especially of Hardin County, 11:41, Guys at 11:42, Hurley at 11:42, Pebble Hill as well, and then Shiloh at 11:44 p.m. So we're starting to get that right into the core of our area, western Hardin County. Your time is coming up quick for those severe thunderstorm warnings. That much is for sure. Fred, you got any updates over there? Oh, sure. Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and hit the Arctic Air Skycam network. Let's go to Savannah. They're moving the camera around a little bit.
All right.
whoever is listening to me and moving the camera, let's hold it where it is because we have a good shelf cloud shot. You can only see it when the lightning lights it up, but we have a decent shelf cloud right here approaching from McNairy County. Now, shelf cloud is a sign of gusty straight line winds. That's not rotation. It's where the cool outflow rushes out ahead of the storm line, interacts with the warm, humid air coming up. But that's a sign that we likely do have the potential for damaging straight line winds coming into Savannah over the next few minutes. Chase just gave you times of arrival there. You are now under a severe thunderstorm warning for all of Harden County. Up, down, left, right, top, bottom, crisscross. Every community in the county, you're now in a severe thunderstorm warning. That applies to Tishomingo County and Mississippi as well, and we'll talk about you here in just a moment. Storms are a little farther away. 72 degrees here with a dew point of 66, southeast wind at 10 miles per hour. Lightning is almost nonstop here on the Arctic Air Skycam network. This is from the E911 Center on the west side of Savannah, looking back westward across the Highway 64 bridge over into eastern portions of McNairy County. And again, we're not looking for a wall cloud, not looking for circulation, not looking for a tornado. That's not what this is. This is gusty straight line wind coming in. But that straight line wind could be enough to knock down trees and power lines. So if you're in these areas, you need to be inside away from windows until the storms pass on through. Once that first blast of wind hits you about 15 minutes later, the damage potential for you is over, but there will still be heavy rain, really loud thunder with lightning for probably another hour or two as the storms work through. We'll go back to Viper Live Doppler radar and see what's going on in these areas. And again, that's the track for the Hardin County segment of the line. Eventually, Tishomingo County will be involved, but you see how far away it is. The storms that get into Tishomingo County are all the way up into southeastern areas of Hardeman County, Tennessee. They haven't even entered Alcorn County yet, so you can tell they're a little bit of a ways away, especially with them only moving 45 to 50 miles an hour. That's a fast storm motion, but when they're that far away, it's going to take a while to get there. So Tishomingo County, Mississippi, you guys that are in mobile homes, use this as early heads up to get out of those and head to community shelters if you need to. But this storm is not moving into your location like in the next 5 or 10 minutes. You have plenty of lead time as this comes in. Let's go to the live radar and go back to Lewis County and check out these storms up here.
We'll go in the main portion.
Yeah, that's going into Hohenwald now. Let's look at live velocity, the wind fields here. And it's not an especially strong rotation, but we might have a weak, tight but weak rotation near the west side of Hohenwald. I don't think that's a candidate for a tornado warning unless it were to significantly intensify, but you have to watch things like that with a line of thunderstorms coming in. So if you're watching here near Hohenwald, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning. That means you need to be inside away from windows until the storms pass, and that's going to be the same for the rest of Lewis County here as the storms move through. There's still the damaging wind potential down near Topsy and Ashland, Tennessee, in the northeast corner of Wayne County. However, those storms are just clipping the county. If we go back to the reflectivity, you can see it's mainly clipping that far, far northeast corner for the damaging wind potential. Now, back near Leatherwood, Flatwoods, yes, lightning is still going stupid, and there's still heavy rain moving into the area, but the damaging wind potential is up here near Tennessee Highway 99 near the Ashland area, and then back up into Lewis County. We'll watch that little notch near Hohenwald carefully, but I don't think that's a candidate for a tornado unless that does significantly strengthen. We'll watch that carefully. Let's go ahead and do a storm track just along and ahead of the line. We'll have to zoom out a little bit to do that. We'll carry that east-southeast to almost southeast.
Sorry, 1 second.
At 45 miles an hour.
Do it like here-ish.
Now, let's go all the way up to like north of Gordonsburg and such. Let's just hit the overall segment.
Oh, sure, 1 second. I'll go here-ish for you. There we go. Bring it south.
All right, so here are some times of arrival for this overall line segment we have moving across. Gordonsburg, 11:39. Providence, 11:41. Ethra, 11:46. Naco Napier, 11:48. Bachelder at 11:48. Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, you're now in a severe thunderstorm warning, 11:56 for the arrival time. Northern portions of Lawrence County, Tennessee, you're not yet in the warning, but if the storms continue, you eventually will be. Henryville arrival time 11:58, Summertown 11:59, Sandy Hook, Tennessee at midnight, Enterprise 12:04, Bigbyville 12:05, Alexander Springs and Broadview 12:07, Jonestown 12:09, and Gibsonville, Tennessee in the northern part of Giles County over here in southern portions of Murray County, Tennessee. That's going to be 12:14 for your arrival time. Eventually, this will prompt warnings in Lawrence and Giles counties. It's just a little farther away, and that's why we don't have warnings in these areas yet. The warnings we have on the board, we can clear the track off now. The warnings we have on the board are for western and northern Murray, all of Lewis, far northern areas of Wayne, all of Harden, all of Tishomingo. These are severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have any tornado warnings for any county in the viewing area at this time. We're going to hold here a little longer. See if we see any damage reports coming in. We're watching sky cams in the background and all that. Looks like Memphis National Weather Service is drafting a tornado warning back to the west for Benton and Tippah counties in Mississippi. That's a few counties west of our viewing area, but we will have to watch that with time because that may hold together to get Tishomingo here with time. So we'll watch that carefully. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other reports. Have not seen any real damage reports coming with the storms that came across Perry into Lewis at this time, but we're watching it carefully. Let's flip to the Arctic Air Skycam network in Hohenwald. And
all right, we are facing west here, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to flip us around east.
Fantastic.
All right, so the camera has moved so that I can keep track of what we're doing. Whoever is moving our cameras for us, I have control right here in front of me. Please let us in the studio control the cameras from here on out. Not being rude, but I need to keep track of where the cameras are pointed so that I know exactly what we're looking at. So I'm going to make sure we're swinging on around to the southeast or east.
There we go.
Yeah, that was looking due south at the moment, so that's southeast. I'm not looking for a tornado or anything like that. Honestly, just looking for the lightning frequency and to see the conditions here. These are not updated live by live, second by second. We don't have actual sensors at this site, at the tower here, at the fire department and City Hall in Hohenwald, but that is a live camera view that we own. But the most recent current conditions near the area were 68 with a dew point of 65. So we'll go back to the radar. Let's hit the OHX radar and let's look a little more regionally here. Storms are not quite that regionally southern middle Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, storms are just now clipping that far northern part of Murray County, Tennessee. A lot of that is staying over in the Williamson County. That's more parallel to the upper level flow, so I don't think the wind damage is as high in that northern part of Murray County, Tennessee. It's the bow echo we have coming through Lewis County, Tennessee that would be a concern for the western and southern parts of Murray County with time, clipping the far northeast corner of Wayne County, and then coming across that far northern part of Lawrence County, Tennessee. And if these storms hold together, there are probably going to be severe thunderstorm warnings issued for that far northern part of Lawrence County, I'd imagine, here over the next several minutes. If you see anything, Chase, interrupt me.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back and look at the northeast Mississippi storms. We do have a tornado warning off to the west of the viewing area, but this does include Alcorn County. That's just one county away. So let's see what we're looking at here. This is going to be the rotating thunderstorm up here to the north of Ashland. That's Benton County. That's Tippah County in Mississippi. That's Highway 72. Rotation would be on 72. On this general track, that looks like that's going to track between Rienzi and Corinth. If it holds together, it's probably an hour or so away, but that would eventually be a concern for Tishomingo County in Mississippi. We'll go back and look at Harden County here on the radar since we're looking at the Memphis NexRad. Heavy thunderstorms don't look quite as severe looking coming in from McNairy County into northwestern Hardin County, but the storms are moving into downtown Selma now, and they're knocking on the door of downtown Savannah. So if there is wind damage coming through with these, we will know over the next few minutes. Let's take this leading edge of what is a little bit of a bow echo here, where there may be the highest threat of wind damage with that. Let's go east, southeast with that at about 40 or 45 miles an hour and do some times of arrival there. There you go. And this will carry it over into Wayne County as well if it holds together. Savannah and Bucktown here within the next 2 minutes. This is for the damaging wind potential. It's over Crump, Tennessee right now. Swift at 1146, Maddox 1153, Olive Hill 1156, Clifton Junction in Center Star, Tennessee at 1202, Martins Mill 1206, Big Ivy 1208, Lutz, Tennessee 1211, Cromwell Crossroads 1220, and Collinwood, Tennessee 1223. The higher threat of wind damage with this segment of the line would likely miss Waynesboro just to the south and southwest, but we'll watch that carefully because if the line tries to fill in, that could change a bit. No signs of rotation or tornado here, but the potential for some gusty straight line winds of 50, maybe 60 miles per hour, and then additional storms with straight line potential back into portions of McNairy County, Tennessee. Chase, I know you've been looking at the radar. You've been checking out Lewis County, Tennessee very carefully on the live radar. What have you seen over there?
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on that just to kind of monitor, the possibility of maybe continued rotation, straight line winds, things like that. And it definitely is kind of turning into a more straight line wind situation right now. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at it here just a little bit. That is our live radar scanning out of Lawrenceburg. And sure enough, you can kind of see that structure. I was talking about how it's becoming more of a line, but we were watching that little kind of kink in it right there at the leading edge. And it hasn't totally gone away just yet. There's still that convergence, but you're definitely seeing a signature of more straight line winds pushing out, and especially just immediately behind it, that wind punching in, so to speak. Matter of fact, I can draw a little bit here for you. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. That wind pushing through and honestly moving southeast pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and actually get some of those measurements. We're going to query here. So they're still lower to mid 70s miles an hour blowing through here at 600 feet. So that's pretty low as far as radar is concerned. I'm going to actually go ahead and zoom us out just a touch and switch to reflectivity and just draw a short track into the northern portions of Lawrence County, probably into Giles County as well, and see what we have as far as timelines are concerned. I'll adjust us a little further north here, and we'll call it southeast, about 40 to 45 miles an hour like the rest of these are. We're kind of right there at the edge of those two lines, so we'll bring that southeast here, and there we go. So now we're starting to get a little bit more of these times. Ethra at 1148, Napier at 1149, same for Bachelder at 1149, Henryville at 1158, Mount Pleasant at 1159 at the turn of the day heading into Monday, Summertown at 12 a.m. sharp, Sandy Hook at 1201, Alexander Springs, you'll be there at about 1207 a.m., Broadview and Jonestown 1208 and 1209, Gibsonville at 1114, then as you head out towards Liberty Hill 1215, Big Creek 1215 and Campbell Station, as we start heading out into Giles County and even portions of Murray County and the south portions of the county out towards 1218, 1220, and a little bit beyond that. So that's what we're watching there for that portion of the line. And again, we were just keeping an eye on that, and it's still mostly turning into a kind of a straight line wind threat, as expected with this line, and that's kind of the key area we're keeping an eye on right now. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's see here. I'll switch back to reflectivity. All right. I'm checking another source here just to see if I got any reports, and no, haven't seen any reports yet. So with that being said, Fred is back. He fetched us a little bit of drinks for our coverage, and I think we're set so far. You got anything new, sir?
I've just come away. I wasn't actually looking at anything.
Good. Yeah, I think we're set over here then.
All right. Yeah, because it's going to be a little bit.
That it is. Let's see here.
Let's see. All right, so you've tracked the storms moving through Lewis County, correct?
Yep, and I drew out a track kind of out towards.
Okay, so let's focus on our other storms that we have going on. Let's go up to northern Murray. We haven't touched on these in a little bit.
checks for you. There you go.
Mainly because they haven't been posing too much of a threat, to be honest with you. The threat's mainly been Williamson County, but we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning here for the northern parts of Murray County, Tennessee, north of Columbia, from Santa Fe and Bethel over toward Theta and Spring Hill. But again, stronger thunderstorms are staying over into Williamson County. And then the other thunderstorm that's coming across Lewis County in Tennessee, that is starting to knock on the door of western Murray County now, but that is western and southwestern parts of the county. That's out here near Ethra, southwest of Arkland, moving toward Poplar Top in the Mount Pleasant area. Will shift the radar back into these regions. And again, you have your bow echo type configuration here moving down Highway 412. That would be a potential for damaging straight line wind for places like Mount Pleasant and Sandy Hook with that complex of thunderstorms. And honestly, if this holds together, I would imagine within the next few minutes, we're probably going to see severe thunderstorm warnings into far northern parts of Lawrence County, Tennessee, from Center and Henryville to Etheridge, Alexander Springs, and Summertown. Now, I don't think they're initially going to include Lawrenceburg proper unless the storms make more of a sharp southward turn. Hasn't happened just yet. This is going to be more of a northern Lawrence and southern Murray County issue, and eventually northern Giles here over the next hour or so. New warning for that has not been issued yet, but I would imagine, given the look of the radar, the environment we have, and the longevity of the storms, they will probably consider a new warning here for these areas shortly. So just an early heads up before a warning is even issued that you're probably going to get a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll go back to Harden County, Tennessee, and these storms will look at the Memphis next rad. And these are some big lightning producers here. Storms coming through the north side of Savannah at this time. We can hit that Arctic Air Skycam on the network in Savannah and see what conditions are like there. All right, and we're looking across the bridge. You're not going to see much anymore because the heavy rain is starting to move in, but you can see the frequency of the lightning. Notice temperatures have gone down a little bit to 69 degrees. Dew point is 60. So we're getting the stable rain-cooled air moving in now just ahead of the line. So that tells me that this portion of the line is outflow dominant, which decreases the tornado potential with it, but there's still the potential for pockets of damaging straight line wind. We'll have to watch carefully. We'll go back to the radar. And the core of that is coming across the northern side of Savannah, from Savannah up to Bucktown to Saltillo. That's still moving off to the east, southeast at about, I would say, 40 miles an hour or so. So for this part of the line, let's go ahead and do a storm track here. East, southeast or so. Yeah. See, new warnings. It was exactly what I expected. Looks like more of Murray, portions of Marshall County, Tennessee, portions of Giles and Lawrence under severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll look at that in just a second once we get this track out of the way. For the storms on the north side of Savannah, potential for damaging winds. Olive Hill, Tennessee, 1159. Martins Mills at 1212. Lutz, Tennessee, 1218. Cromwell Crossroads, 1227. And Collinwood at 1230. The higher potential for wind damage would stay just to the south of Waynesboro on that track. We'll clear this off. Let's center up in southern middle Tennessee and wait for our new polygon to come out. And let's go to maybe the high top next rad.
Yeah, I think that'd be our best bet. Yep, there we
go. Yeah, they did exactly what I thought they would do. Okay.
I'll zoom in on that, set it up for you.
So new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go now until 1245. It picks up the remainder of Murray County, Tennessee. So downtown Columbia, you're in this severe thunderstorm warning. It's for the bow echo out here approaching Mount Pleasant and Sandy Hook with a potential for 60, maybe 70 mile per hour straight line winds. It does come down to Etheridge in Lawrence County like I thought it would. It does come down to the northern third here of Giles County, including the Campbellsville and Linville areas. And then they've gone ahead and taken all of Marshall County, Tennessee in the severe thunderstorm warning as well. The entire county from top to bottom and left to right. That's the severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to go until 1245. Let's do a storm track here. And ahead of that bow echo, let me get new times of arrival with the warning.
There you go.
Was that 45 miles an hour?
Yes, 45.
Okay, so times of arrival with the warning here. Henryville, Tennessee, 1156. Summertown, 1158. Mount Pleasant and Sandy Hook at midnight. Alexander Springs and Enterprise at 12:05, Jonestown 12:08, Broadview 12:09, Bigviewville 12:09, Lebanon Heights 12:12, Gibsonville 12:14, Big Creek at 12:14. Having a look at my monitor here in case you wonder why I'm looking down a little bit. We get comments like that every so often. Fountain Heights at 12:17, Culleoka at 12:18, and Campbell Station, Tennessee at 12:19. That tells me somewhere between 12:20 and 12:30 that would arrive on the 31A corridor from Cornersville to the Lewisburg area in Marshall County in Tennessee. This segment of the line, this individual singular segment will stay north of Lawrenceburg. Lawrenceburg, you will not miss the entire storm line. The warning is only for this singular segment. Let's clear off the track, hit the DMA view, and hit radar network and just do a big reset. We haven't even talked about Northwest Alabama. The reason why is nothing's going on here, and it's still a little ways away from happening for Northwest Alabama, but I don't want you to think that we're ignoring you. We just can't focus on you when nothing's going on. Here's an overall look at the line of thunderstorms just to the northwest of Columbia, coming through Hohenwald, just to the west at Waynesboro, Tennessee, coming through Savannah and Selmer, and then back into North Mississippi. You see several severe thunderstorm warnings on the line that still include all of Tishomingo County, Mississippi, even though storms are still a couple counties away. That may have been issued a little too soon, if you ask me. There's still also a tornado warning back into northern Mississippi. We'll hit the watch warning map and give you an overview of what's going on. And if you missed our post, just clear the box off the screen for me, please.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry.
If you missed our post just before we went live here with the warning coverage, there has been a tornado watch issued until 5 a.m. that includes all of Northwest Alabama and Northeast Mississippi interviewing areas. So all 14 counties that we serve here across southern Middle Tennessee, Northwest Alabama, and Northeast Mississippi under a tornado watch here. Tennessee side, it's until 3 a.m. The Alabama, Mississippi side, it's until 5 a.m. You tell it's starting to get late at night when we start fumbling over words every now and then. Flip back over to Chase here for just a minute. Let him track a couple storms, look at the radar and things he's been looking at behind the scenes.
Absolutely. One of the main things, as one of the resident radar dudes, I suppose, is that storm that's moving in now into northern portions, Lawrence County and Giles County, and the one we were just talking about. And I actually wanted to kind of mention a feature I was noticing, not a rotational feature, I do want to mind you, quite the opposite. We're starting to see the outflow out ahead of it. You can kind of see here on velocities, this sort of ragged, kind of linear shape about it. So we're getting a good sense of where this is relative to the outflow ahead of the storm. This is one of those key features that we want to keep an eye on as to the development of the storm strength, how it can sustain itself through its life cycle. And now that we're getting closer to this radar and we're getting lower and lower in the atmosphere, we're starting to see that outflow there, and we're starting to see those winds kind of taper down a little bit, but a little bit doesn't mean much because we were seeing winds 70 miles an hour plus in this area just moments ago. So we're still probably seeing those gusts, better part of 60 miles an hour at the moment. And I got a source off screen here. Let me check that real quick to see if I have any reports. And I haven't seen anything in our area yet, but I have seen earlier over the last couple of hours trees down on homes, things like this. Haven't heard of any injuries, but that definitely kind of shows us that this has a history of producing those severe thunderstorm criteria winds at the very least, if not more. So I'll back out here just a moment and kind of get you the big picture reset here again. That's what we've got here. It's a big time blanket watch, or blanket warning, I should say, here covering this next about an hour or so, right? Doesn't this go until 12:45? So really the next 45 minutes, got a long way to go for this one. That much is for sure.
Yep, we're going to be here for a little while because honestly, the best thing to do this late at night, and with there's so much storm anxiety around this storm system, even though the consistent messaging, not from just us, but from all local National Weather Service offices and all of our local TV friends, the consistent messaging for days has been that this is not a big scary outbreak, but we understand how storm anxiety is, especially when you have access to some more rogue characters on social media that like to scream tornado outbreak every time there's a cold front that comes across country. We understand how it works, and we're not judging here. We fully understand how it works. So with the storm anxiety in mind, with the overnight timing in mind, We know how it is. If you wake up in the middle of the night to a storm, you wonder what's going on. We just feel it's best that even though there are no tornado warnings, it may be best for us to just stay live nonstop during the warnings as if there were tornado warnings, just so that we're here as a source of consistent information. Now, if we get to a point this morning where the storms weaken a little bit and they start getting a much more marginal, or they get under severe limits, we start losing the warnings, or if the warnings start looking a lot more questionable, then we may scale back from the coverage and just do the intermittent cut-ins again. But while we have warnings on the board that look credible for wind damage and such, yeah, given all those factors together, I think we're going to stay here for a little while nonstop. I want to make it clear, though, no tornado warnings for any part of the viewing area. We take that back. There's now a tornado warning here in Murray County, Tennessee. Just came up just as I said that. That's how quick these things can happen. This is a new tornado warning for, I would assume, the central part of Murray County, Tennessee until 12:30. And yep, it includes Columbia. That's a tight rotation here. Let's focus the rotation into the middle of the screen a little bit. This is going to be out on Highway 412 to the west of Poplar Top, moving to the east or east-southeast at about 45 miles an hour. That is a tight rotation. This is the Nashville next rad. So the reds are winds moving away from the radar toward the southwest. Green moving northeast toward the radar location. And you see that tight rotation where the red and the green is right up next to each other. That's the circulation. That's the reason for the new tornado warning. So let's back out a little bit. Let's do a storm track on this. This does include downtown Columbia, and that rotation is going to be very close to there. Let's carry that at 45 miles an hour. Here are times of arrival for this tornadic circulation. If you see your communities here, these are times of arrival. Don't wait to the last minute to shelter. Go ahead and shelter now. But this is arrival time for the rotation, not for the lightning, not for the rain, but the potential tornado. Gant, 1208, Poplar Top, 1209, Bigbyville, 1216, Columbia proper, 1217, Lebanon Heights, 1218, Beech Grove, 1221, Neapolis, 1223, Fountain Heights, 1223, Lanton at 1224, Culleoka, 1224, and Rock Springs at 1225. Again, this is a brand new tornado warning until 1230 for central areas of Murray County, Tennessee. It does include Mount Pleasant, Broadview, Bigbyville, and Culleoka, but I think the main rotation, unless it makes a right turn, is going to stay north of there. I think this is going to be closer to Poplar Top, closer to downtown Columbia, closer to Lebanon Heights, closer to Fountain Heights and Rock Springs. Many of those same areas, if you remember the tornado track back on May 8th of last year, I don't have any reason to believe it's the same strength of that tornado, but the same track of the rotation as it came out of eastern Lewis and across central Murray. The track of the storm is similar, and unless it makes a right turn, that would include Columbia proper. So let's clear off the track, go to tornado safety rules. This is what you need to be doing right now if you're in this polygon. You need to be going through your tornado safety plan. A basement storm cellar or a certified safe room are best, but you don't have to be underground to survive a tornado. Almost every single circumstance you will encounter in your life, you can survive a tornado, even a strong one above ground, but you have to be in a site-built home. Go into small interior rooms such as a bathroom, a hallway, or a closet near the center of the building on the lowest floor of a site-built structure. Toward the center of the building, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Stay away from windows. Protect your head and neck from flying debris. If you have a bicycle helmet in the home, kids have batting helmets, football helmets, you guys have motorcycle helmets, ballistics helmets, construction hard hats, metal cooking pots is a last resort. And this is not just kids, this is every single person in the home. Every life is equally important. Protect your head and neck from flying debris. Grab pillows, grab blankets, anything to insulate yourself from flying debris. And you have to leave vehicles, you have to leave mobile homes and head to a sturdy, reinforced, site-built structure. If it's within a few miles, that can be a gas station that's open 24/7 or a restaurant that's open 24/7 or anything of that general nature. You need to be out of mobile homes and you need to be out of vehicles. So go back to Viper Live Doppler Radar, look at that circulation again.
And I want to mention, by the way, back on the mobile homes, things like that. We have a lot of people camping out there for Mule Day right now, probably the better part of 100. This very much applies for you. You don't want to be staying there right now. You want to go to a site-built structure pretty much as soon as possible right now. You have time here in the Columbia Metro, especially south. You don't want to be at a campsite. You want to be in a sturdy site-built structure for that.
Now, we'll say very quickly and very strongly that Murray County EMA preps for this ahead of time. They are good about paying attention. They are good about getting those campers to a safe place. Yes. But yes, this is the time now. Don't wait to the last minute. This is the time now to get out of the campgrounds, head to a sturdy, reinforced shelter as the circulation moves in. And we'll get back to the other severe thunderstorm warnings in just a moment. But when we have a tornado warning on the board, that takes a little bit of urgent priority. It's a little more of a dangerous, life-threatening situation. We will bounce back and forth between the other severe thunderstorm warnings as we can. We're not going to ignore anyone here. But rotation out here west of Poplar Top by a few miles on Highway 412, it's a touch broader than it was when the warnings first issued. And these are probably not going to be your long track tornadoes. These are most likely the smaller spin-up variety. They're still just as dangerous, and you have to shelter from them, but these are not going to be the ones that keep their structure on the radar for tens of minutes, an hour or more, and you see them track just at steady state intensity for hours across multiple counties. That's not that. They spin up, maybe touch down, and then they spin right back and go away. We'll turn off the shear markers for just a minute.
Sure thing.
And let's go to correlation coefficient, make sure we haven't missed anything. Zoom in a little closer near that highway sign.
I certainly see what you see there. Let me circle it, and we'll kind of overlap here real quick, see if we have an overlap. So here's that feature we're looking at.
And we also need to watch for temporal continuity as well.
Yes, indeed. So they're both updated.
It's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
okay, now let's go back in time and look at what it's looked like the past few scans.
All right, so here is our last one there.
No, the correlation, the past few.
Yes, I was just making sure that goes there. So last couple, and then right about there, this most recent one.
All right, that could be something. I don't want to say for certain that that's a tornado down, but that would be the kind of thing you would look for with a small spin-up tornado in a situation like this. So I can't tell you that's a debris signature. I cannot do that. I want to make that very clear because sometimes people look for a reason to misunderstand things. I can't tell you that's a debris signature, but I can say that looks suspicious and we need to watch it for another radar scan or two. It's in the right place. It correlates with the velocity. It may be something. You want to treat it like it is something as a course of least regret. And it's coming out here in the general direction of Poplar Top, Tennessee. And it would be coming out here on the 412 business corridor toward Columbia or just south of there toward Lebanon Heights. So I need to stress this strongly. You need to be in your safe place now. Don't wait for this to be a minute away and then you duck down at the last minute. If something's not on the ground, something could get on the ground as I'm verbalizing that sentence. You saw how quickly it went from, I was telling you a few minutes ago that we don't have any tornado warnings, and as I was saying that sentence, we got this tornado warning. Things happen quickly during situations like this. You don't want to wait to the last minute, but that could potentially be a tornado down. I don't want to say for certain that it is, but that is a suspicious radar signature, and let's do a general storm track, a fan type track, just ahead of that, and let's talk about some new times of arrival, and then I'll let you watch that behind-the-scenes chase, and then we'll have to bounce around a little bit to some of these other severe storms. So the rotation here, times of arrival, Poplar Top 1212, or maybe a couple minutes before that, Gant 1212, Big Beeville 1218, Columbia proper 1220, Lebanon Heights 1221, Beech Grove 1224, Fountain Heights 1226, Culleoka, Tennessee at 1227, Lanton at 1228, Rock Springs 1228, Bryant Station 1232, Pottsville at 1235, Lee's Corner at 1236. Keep in mind, we can clear the track off and we can zoom out a little bit, go to reflectivity. Keep in mind, there is a background severe thunderstorm warning for, I would essentially say it's pretty much now for this storm just northeast Lawrence County. They got a new one for storms coming into Wayne County soon. They go all the way across Wayne County to almost Highway 43 in Lawrence County. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But for this storm, keep in mind, background severe thunderstorm warnings all the way down to northern Giles, all the way through all of Marshall County, Tennessee. But we're carefully watching that rotation west of Poplar Top. We'll go back and look at the storms coming toward Wayne and Lawrence County, Tennessee, where we have new severe thunderstorm warnings. And those are the storms that are coming out of Harden County, Tennessee. You see them moving into the Clifton Junction and Clifton areas now. So we'll do a storm track from Clifton down to maybe just southeast of Savannah and carry it east-southeast at 45. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just like that. All right, times of arrival, and this severe thunderstorm warning that is going to go until 1 o'clock for the central and north central parts of Wayne County and western areas of Lawrence County, including Deerfield, the Henryville, Centerville areas, Ovilla, down to the West Point and Pea Ridge areas in the west side of Lawrenceburg, and then Waynesboro, Martins Mill, Lutz, Collinwood, Leatherwood, Clifton, and Clifton Junction. That's a severe thunderstorm warning till 1 o'clock. Got to hit this quick because they got to get back to this tornado warning here in just a minute. 12:10 for Clifton Junction, Leatherwood 12:15, Center Star 12:15, Martins Mills at 12:16, Big Ivy at 12:23, Waynesboro 12:23, Lutz, Tennessee 12:26, Collinwood 12:33, Cromwell Crossroads 12:34, Highland, Tennessee at 12:36, Ovilla 12:38, Deerfield 12:45, Pea Ridge 12:48, West Point 12:50. Given that track, I would imagine Lawrenceburg proper, if it maintains current forward motion, track and speed, I would imagine arrival time a few minutes before 1 a.m. for the potential for gusty straight line winds. And those storms continue all the way back into McNairy County. Keep in mind, there are severe thunderstorm warnings that include places like Pyburn, Counts, over the Walnut Grove, and Big Ivy as well, in addition to that lead area that's come across Savannah and about to cross over into Wayne County. So we'll clear that track off. We'll go down, look in northeast Mississippi. Storms are still northwest of Corinth, and they've actually trimmed the severe thunderstorm warning in Tishomingo County to just be Iuka in northwest because the storms are still so far away. And honestly, it's still 30 or more minutes away from Burnsville and Iuka, right near the Tennessee state line, probably the next 15 to 20 minutes. Gusty straight line winds up to 60 miles an hour. Let's hit the DMA view very quickly, show that there's nothing across northwest Alabama. We're not ignoring you. The storms are just not there yet. Tornado watch until 5 a.m. So let's jump back to the tornado warning and see what we have on deck.
Here we go. And we do actually have that couplet on our live radar, which is kind of handy because it's a little lower.
Let's go to that then.
It's still a little attenuated. Matter of fact, just as I say that, it's just,
all right, I'll let you track on that right there.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so here's that new scan I was talking about. And the reason I'm pulling this up is because we're much lower in the atmosphere. Matter of fact, scanning here, we're at about 300 feet, so we kind of get a better sense of what's happening at the ground level as opposed to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 feet. And we still definitely see that couplet here just over Poplar Top. It's about to cross right over 43, and where 412 meets on the west side of Columbia into that business district. We're getting a new sweep in here momentarily, but I don't think we could suss out too much with these other things, because again, we are attenuated, right? We can't really see too much, but that wind couplet, that velocity couplet definitely is there, and it's pretty tight. It's not the most intense I've seen, but it's also not the weakest I've ever seen, so we have kind of dual radar confirmation in this respect. As a matter of fact, I'll go back to OHX for you here, Nashville. And that lines up just right where it is. And we still definitely see that couplet there. Again, just now crossing Highway 43 there west of downtown Columbia. Let me see if I have any reports. And I actually do have some reports, some power outages in western Murray County at the moment.
Take the Columbia Fire 3 camera.
Okay, I was checking that earlier. And
Ben has control of it. He will be able to move it.
It's a little out of date.
Okay.
Yeah, I had been looking
So
at
it's
that.
out. So we don't have that one. Check the Mount Pleasant camera.
Good night vision on this one, so let's see what we got here.
All right. And this is looking more off to the northeast. Now, we're not looking for a tornado or anything in the shot. It's night. It would be rain wrapped. You wouldn't be able to see anything just looking at lightning frequency here. It's looking back in the direction something would be, however. But we'll watch that horizon just in case for a moment here. But again, if you are watching from I would say Poplar Top over to downtown Columbia, especially on the southwest and west side. Still be in your shelters. That rotation is crossing 43 as we speak on the southwest side of Columbia proper, and it's coming up into the southern half of downtown as we speak. It's a little broad, but that doesn't mean that there may not be a small tornado there.
Here we go. We're back on the next rad. There's that positioning. And I'll go ahead and check, see if we have any continuity with the CC. And
it's noisy now.
Yeah, it's definitely getting noisy. We can't give you any firm wording on that as to say, but you do want to treat this as if it is on the ground because we have seen some very suspicious signatures with this signature, right? So this is definitely something taken seriously here. And it's probably heading into the State Highway 50 corridor on the west side of Columbia right now because these are a couple minutes old, of course.
Yeah, so let's take a tight zoom here of this general area. Let's get subdivisions and start to get some of our streets popping on.
There you go.
All right, so we have Highland Avenue here. This is Pulaski Highway. That's US 31. There's 43 back to the west. The radar shows the rotation over 43. It's likely in this area now just because of the basic lag of the next rad. This is coming across the belt loop over the next minute or two. You have Graymore Manor, Sunnyside, Fieldcrest. You have the Highland Park area, Creekside, Lebanon Heights, Fairview Heights here, and just behind the banner that would be down. Well, here's Columbia proper right here in Business 412 running into it. This is going to be near and just to the south by a hair of downtown Columbia proper where we have this potential tornado coming in. Haven't seen anything that confirms a tornado down, but we've seen suspicious radar signatures that have possibly been debris from time to time. We're also seeing the lightning picking up with this, and we still have this broad but pretty strong rotation here coming into the southwest side of downtown as we speak. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's getting pretty close to where some of the campers are with Mule Day, or at least where they used to set up over the past few years. Let's go to correlation coefficient here. All right, everything's still noisy, so for right now, not a clear sign of debris from anything, but we do have a couplet right here that's crossed out of 43 that's about to come up across the southern half of downtown Columbia as we speak. Again, tornado warning continues for central areas of Murray County, Tennessee until 12:30. The reason why we're focusing on that, it's a tornado warning. It's also the only tornado warning we have immediately in the viewing area. Everybody else that's yellow on that map down there, your severe thunderstorm warnings, gusty straight line winds. Be inside away from windows, but if you're inside away from windows, you're going to be just fine. Have you seen any reports or anything like that coming across, Chase?
Beside what I mentioned about the power outages, I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm keeping a very close eye on that here behind the scenes.
Okay. All right. National Weather Service has mentioned that the rotation, at least on the next rad, has tried to tighten just a little bit. In central Murray County, that would be coming into the south side of Columbia. We kind of see the same thing. It's not the strongest rotation in the world, but it doesn't have to be in a situation like this. So again,
here's our live radar.
Okay. Take that skit, click on it. Let's do storm tracks with time of arrival. We have Columbia proper. It says 12:22. Don't wait that last few minutes here. Be in your safe place if you haven't already been. Lebanon Heights, 12:23. Beech Grove, Tennessee, 12:27. Fountain Heights, 12:29. Rock Springs, 12:31. Philadelphia, Tennessee, 12:32. Mount Tema, 12:34. Leftwich, 12:36. And again, the track gets wider the farther you get out to allow for room of error. Not everybody's going to be hit the farther out from the track you are. Hardison Mill, 12:39. Berlin, 12:40. Pottsville, 12:41. Lee's Corner, 12:42. Lillard Mill and Lively, 12:44. Caney Spring, 12:45. We'll hold that because I also want to look at the parameters here. You notice that we have the BTI here, the Barron Tornado Index at 6.9. That is a ranking from 0 to 10 on the likelihood of the storm being able to produce a tornado. What you do is you watch to see if the number goes up or down across a few radar scans. You see if the number is higher or lower compared to adjacent storms. And also, once you start getting over about 4 or 5 or higher, you start having increasing chances of a tornado developing. What this does, it combines radar data with the environmental conditions to get that ranking. That's a 6.9, nearly a 7. So there is a decent chance that the storm could produce at least a short-lived little spin-up tornado, and that's coming into portions of downtown Columbia as we speak. So we'll clear that off.
Go. Switch us back to OHX here.
All right, now circulation is a little more broad. We still have a circulation there. On the next red, what does it look like on the live velocity?
Yeah, sure. I'll throw it back here. It's also kind of looking a little more broad in that respect.
Which would certainly be good news. Let's look at the reflectivity structure on the next rad, see what the storm structure looks like.
Kind of that bookend sort of feature there.
Okay, and it's not as organized as it was about 10 minutes ago. So that doesn't mean that we let our guard down immediately. What we have to do, we have to sit here and watch it for a few minutes, for a few radar scans, to see what's going on and see if it cycles or it trends back.
By the way, I do want to mention this does not take precedent right now, but we do have a rotational signature in Wayne County, kind of similar to what this started as on our live radar here that I've been keeping a close eye on.
So let's go ahead and look at that one.
Sure thing, yeah. And
because we have been on this for several minutes now.
Yeah, and I'll drag us down here, and we're looking out west again towards Waynesboro, and you see what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
It's actually a fairly robust signature here, and I've been keeping an eye on it in the last few ones, and I wanted to highlight that. And we do have our Waynesboro camera looking back into that, so actually I'll throw you to that here. And we'll kind of just get a sense of the conditions out ahead of it here. So lots of lightning, of course.
All right, I'm going to step off, and we're going to watch that the next minute or two.
Sure thing. So yeah, we're looking west here, last eye.
Now, it is a little encouraging that the dew point's down to 60.
First thing I noticed, too, so that's good. But, and Fred's been saying it, even still, we're not necessarily looking for a tornado. We're not looking for something screaming out at us right now because it is night. But those conditions do give us a good sense of what we can expect as the system moves on into central Wayne County. So that is a little promising too, but that is a storm to watch. That much is for sure. And, even rotational signature notwithstanding, there is a pretty good straight line wind signature surging out in the rear of it as well.
All right, so we'll come away from the camera here.
And I'll throw you back to the radar here. So there you go. You can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Let's come out a little bit and do a track on this portion.
Sure.
Talk about times of arrival. Again, it's a broad circulation, not necessarily a tornado.
It's about 40.
Okay.
So here's some of the core areas. Matter of fact, I think I'll expand the show range just a little bit.
All right, so here over the next 30 minutes, that's what this is. Coming into Waynesboro here, roughly around 12:27, you see all the landmarks lighting up there on the like the medical center and the different school complexes. Mount Hope at 12:29, Granny Scott Hollow at 12:36, Murphy Hollow 12:39, Highland at 12:41, Ovilla 12:34, and Ruppertown at 12:44. Again, it's only a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. However, there could be some 60, 70 mile per hour winds here, enhanced by a broad rotation, and we'll have to watch to see if that broad rotation tries to tighten up. So let's clear off of here, go back to our Columbia storm.
Which we do have a few more reports coming in there. We got, the food line in Columbia, there are power lines and trees down near that.
Okay, so let's
I'll
get up there.
Yeah. So I'll switch to OHX just as a baseline here.
So whether it's straight line wind damage or whether it is a tornado, we have seen reports. Let's get in closer here, just west of Lebanon Heights. Go to correlation coefficient.
It's still kind of noisy, but it's sort of
step by step back up a couple scans. Okay, no, just signal noise.
Yeah,
just want to make sure. All right, so we have had reports in this general area though. So let's zoom back out. We're going to do another storm track from just ahead of the broad circulation. We're going to carry this over into Marshall County. They may have to issue a tornado warning that goes over into Marshall County, Tennessee. Rotation is over Lebanon Heights and Fountain Heights. Now, if it holds together, it's broad right now, but there's been at least some wind damage with it. Fountain Heights, 1225. Rock Springs, 1228. Bryant Station, 1232. Berlin, 1236. Caney Spring, 1241. Lewisburg, 1242. Laws Hill, 1245. Willowit Mills, 1245. Farmington, 1245. And Chapel Hill, 1246. Again, we have seen a few damage reports, but nothing that is clearly a tornado on the ground at this time. But there could be one at any moment. We don't know if this isn't a small spin-up tornado that's caused some of this damage. So we'll clear the track off.
Yep.
And hit the DMA view button.
Sure thing. I'll go back to reflectivity here.
Yeah. And let's go to Radar Network and just want to look at everybody here right now. We got the Luna is in the house. He's not mic'd up. And you're probably not going to see him on air unless both of us fall out because he's in a T-shirt. So, yeah, he's got him a mic. He'll mic up. But you may not see him because he's in a T-shirt. But we got the Luna in the house. All right. Line of thunderstorms has been producing occasional wind damage and has had rotation that's running from near Spring Hill down through Columbia, the northwest corner of Giles County. Picks back up again in northwestern portions of Wayne County, south of Savannah, approaching the Counts and Pyburn areas, and then back into McNairy and Alcorn counties in Tennessee. All of the yellow polygons here you see across Tishomingo County, Harden County, Wayne County, Lawrence County, Eastern Lewis County, although I think you're fine now, Northern Giles County, and across Marshall County are severe thunderstorm warnings. The red polygon we have here from Columbia eastward in Murray County, that's our only tornado warning in the viewing area at this time. And that's why we've been focusing on there for the past few minutes. So we'll go back in there and get us on some single site and X-ray data.
I'll switch it to velocity here. So
okay. Yeah, rotation is pretty broad right now. If it continues to look like this, I could see National Weather Service stepping back down to a severe thunderstorm warning. Haven't heard anything the past few minutes, except for they have been continuing the tornado warning. Okay, here we go. They say the Murray County storm has become more disorganized, going to let the tornado warning expire here when it expires at 12:30, but they are going to continue the severe thunderstorm warning. So we're about to step away from this tornado warning in Murray County. Severe thunderstorm warnings will continue, but what that allows us to do, it allows us to have more flexibility and freedom with bouncing around from storm to storm to storm, because when you have half a dozen severe thunderstorm warnings, but you have one tornado warning in a populated area, yes, we're still going to bounce around because everybody's important, but you have to take the more urgent warning and give it a little more attention, and that's what we've been doing here in the eastern part of Murray County with the tornado warning. That is about to be off the board here in the next few minutes, and that, honestly, from what I've seen, that does look like the right decision. Hit the most current, get the radar to its most current position. That's okay, yeah, it looks increasingly broad and disorganized. The broad circulation is out here east of Fountain Heights and Rock Springs. It's crossing I-65 right now. But again, here at 12:30, they are going to let the tornado warning expire for Murray County. Severe thunderstorm warning will continue. We have a whole host of severe thunderstorm warnings on the board. Wayne County tornado warning is incoming. We're about to have a tornado warning for Wayne County. I would not rule out them having to pull the trigger on portions of Lawrence County, Tennessee as well. So let's focus the radar back to Wayne County.
Fred, I think we lost the Waynesboro camera.
Okay. Yeah, they said a minute ago on the Discord that there was a big flash of white and then poof. So we may have lost the Waynesboro camera to lightning. But new tornado warning is coming. This is going to be over Waynesboro. You see the circulation on the live radar here. This is Highway 64 out on the west side of the county. You see a clear, tight, low-level circulation. Keep in mind, this is not NexRad. This is radar scanning from Lawrenceburg. So we're looking only a few hundred feet at the most. That's a clear circulation coming right into Waynesboro. So if you're in Waynesboro and then out eastward on Highway 64, be in your safe place. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. Cover your head and neck from flying debris. Be out of mobile homes. Be out of vehicles.
We've got Waynesboro back.
Okay, so you watch it behind the scenes. We're going to wait for the polygon to see who all's included. And then unless you see something immediately, as soon as we get the polygon and we see who's included, then we'll go to the sky cam here. But we're about to have a tornado warning here within a matter of seconds, if not a minute here, for Wayne County, Tennessee, and it may go over into Lawrence County as well. That's why I'm trying to hold it here to wait for the polygon to come across.
Yeah, that
All right, Wayne and Lawrence counties in Tennessee are now under a tornado warning. So let's zoom out the radar a little bit so we can catch this polygon. This is moving into Waynesboro as we speak. It's a low-level circulation. We don't know if it's down, but it could be at any moment if it's not down and rain-wrapped. And we'll go to that live sky cam on Links 3 here in just a 16th of a second. And you're going to hear all kind of alarms go off. It's about to be cumbersome in here. But a new tornado warning that's going to include north central Lawrence, far southern areas of Lewis as a just in case, although I think it's south of there, and then northern and central Lawrence County, including Lawrenceburg. That's a tornado warning that is going to go now until...
It goes to 1:15.
All right. So that's the circulation over Waynesboro. Let's take a storm track out here, 45 miles an hour, just about due east. All right, and go for 45 minutes.
All right.
Because I want to catch Lawrenceburg in the times of arrival, and then we'll go to the sky cam. All right, times of arrival here. You need to be in your shelters now. Highland, Tennessee, 1242. Ovilla, 1244. Deerfield, 1250. Napier in the NACO area, 1252. Center, 1252. Pea Ridge, 1253. Henryville, 1257. Lawrenceburg proper at 102. Etheridge, 103. Leoma, 103. Summertown 104, Alexander Springs and Gum Springs 106, New Prospect 108, Crossroads 109. Let's take Links 3 full screen. Ben, I'll let you talk about what you've been watching over there.
All right, so what we've got currently is the Waynesboro Skycam. This is looking from Wayne County 911, just to the west of downtown. As the crow flies, this camera site is pretty much right in the middle of the rotation. I have been seeing quite a bit of wind activity at the surface, maybe just a smidge south a moment ago. Fred, I don't want to say that I've not seen any power flashes, but I have seen some very interesting anomalies on this shot over the past few minutes.
All right, so let's switch from there to the Lawrenceburg cam because we're looking west.
I'll get you there.
Yeah, we have that looking back west toward the storm, and you definitely see a big shelf cloud here. Now, we're going to watch the lightning and watch the storm bases here and see if we see anything off in the distance that looks suspicious. Because if there is something, it may be a little clearer to see it. Those are older current conditions. Don't pay attention to that. That's just the links box needing to be restarted is all that is. This is live video here. And we'll watch to see if we get another lightning flash.
So far, I've got eyes on the Waynesboro camera.
There we go. Okay. All right. I'm not seeing anything under the base at this time, which is certainly good news. I have that in front of me where I can watch it for the Lawrenceburg camera. New severe thunderstorm warnings are reissuing back in Harden County and Tishomingo County, Mississippi. That's what that looks like that is. The rotation we have is on the east side of Waynesboro now. It's becoming a little more of a bow echo, which would suggest this may be trying to transition to straight line winds, which explains that shelf cloud we had on the Lawrenceburg camera. But that's going to be riding straight down Highway 64 out of Waynesboro through Ovilla. You have the intersection with the trace there on Highway 64 on the county line. Then toward the Deerfield area, and then right on down to the north side of Lawrenceburg and toward Etheridge. So we'll continue to watch that. Again, tornado warning in effect for central and northeastern parts of Wayne County, Tennessee, central and northern parts of Lawrence County, Tennessee. And as a course of least regret, they did far, far, far southern areas of Lewis County. But unless there is an unusual left turn, I think any tornadic circulation is going to be south of the Lewis County line. This is more of an eastern Wayne issue and then a Lawrence County issue as we go along here. People in the polygon, Waynesboro proper, the east side of Waynesboro, Granny Scott Hollow, over to Avila, Deerfield, Pea Ridge, Lawrenceburg proper, New Prospect, Etheridge, Center, Henryville, Summertown, Etheridge, Alexander Springs. And again, it goes as far north as Napier in the NACO area, but I think the tornadic circulation is going to stay to the south of there. The polygon comes down to the Crossroads area, comes down to the north side of Leoma, right around where the Quick Mart is there on Highway 43. Does not go any farther south than that. So if you're watching us from the Loretto, you're watching us from Busby, you're watching us from 5 Points, Rabbit Town down to Iron City and St. Joe. If you've heard tornado sirens, the tornado warning is north of you. It's the northern half of the county here, roughly. Pea Ridge, Lawrenceburg, New Prospect, northward in the county. Tornado warning for Lawrence County, northeast quadrant here of Wayne County. Tornado warning, and I still think that main threat is going to be to the south of Lewis County. Chase, what do you see over there that you're tracking?
Oh, I'm just keeping an eye on off-screen sources just to make sure we don't have any reports coming in. And so far, nothing quite just yet, but I actually have seen some of reports back in Harden County, McNairy County, further west from this storm, of a lot of trees down. So it shows the potency of the period, severe thunderstorm or otherwise. So that's something I was just keeping an eye on. And that was about an hour and a half up to 90 minutes ago. So it has a history.
Put your left hand up, Ben.
Oh yeah, Ben Luna's right here behind me. So we are definitely staffed with our Southern Middle Tennessee crew right here. That much is for sure. But behind here, we're still keeping an eye on the camera, which you can see just off to my shoulder, and we're not seeing too much at the moment, but we'll definitely keep a very close eye on that over the coming minutes. Okay.
Again, if you're just now tuning in and wondering what's going on, we have a tornado warning in effect for the eastern parts of Wayne County, east of Waynesboro, and central and northern areas of Lawrence County in Tennessee. It technically does include far southern Lewis County in Tennessee, but I think the threat is south of there. That tornado warning expires at 1:15. If you're in the red flashing polygon here, if you haven't already, you need to be going through your tornado safety plans now. Don't wait on this. If you have a basement, a storm shelter, something like that, it's the best place to be. But you don't have to be underground to survive a tornado. Head to a small interior room on a site-built structure, lowest floor near the center, away from windows. What you got, Ben?
Just watching the Lawrenceburg Skycam.
Pull it up on links 3, please.
Back out to the west.
And again, those are old conditions. We just need to restart that links. That's all that is.
A couple of things I'm watching. I think I saw, and again, we have to coordinate with lightning behind the cloud where we can see what's, in our vision. But I do think I see a lowering base in a few of the shots. Looking at the Lawrenceburg camera, again, That's looking back due west.
I've got it on 2 for current conditions, by the way. So if I can throw it over there real quick, you can see. So we're at 69 over 64 here, but same shot. And
no, wait.
Let's see if we get any lightning.
That's not west.
It should be west-ish.
Let me take a peek.
All right. Very good. Let's see.
No, that's looking more north. There we go.
There's west.
Okay, so here's due west. Oh, yeah, we're looking over the highway now. So this ought to be, there we go. We can sort of see the base there.
Again, if you're just joining us, you were watching tornado warning coverage on the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel. Ben Luna alongside Chase Wilson and the world famous Fred Gossage on the wall.
I don't know why he does that, but okay. I'm going to double box this, put that back on radar, and I'm going to double box this with the Skycam that's on links 3.
Something that I was going to say real quick is that we've got a lot of cloud to ground lightning in this thing.
Right there, please.
What now?
Open OBS on that, please.
Okay. Sorry.
You're good.
No, you are right about the lightning, though. What you called it earlier, stupid lightning, that is correct, because we're continuing to see this updraft maintain its strength, right? And that's why we still see this copious amounts of lightning. In fact, let me toggle the lightning counter here, see what we've got in just this frame. We're talking nearly 200 over the last 15 minutes. So it's a loud storm, that much is for sure. You're going to want to be in your safe place, though, in eastern Wayne County and northern central Lawrence County.
All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to double box the Lawrenceburg Skycam on that box you see to the right, so we can keep an eye on that here on air while we continue to have the radar here in the screen. Now, I will say that the rotation isn't quite as just pixel to pixel tight as it previously has been. It's a bit more broad, and the storm structure itself looks a bit more like a straight line wind producer than anything. However, you can still get an embedded spin up tornado in that. So we're going to watch very carefully. Ben's going to pan around the camera, see what he sees. We're going to have that over in the right side of the screen, just to my right, while we continue to have the radar up here. So let's take a storm track just ahead of that circulation. Let's go east-ish at 45 miles an hour.
We'll call it about here-ish.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right. So not for rain, not for lightning, but for the rotation. Time of arrival, Highland at 12:43, Ovilla 12:45, Deerfield 12:51. The Napier-Naco area, again, I think it's south of there, but it's course of least regret, 12:52, Center 12:52, Henryville 12:56, Etheridge 103, Summertown 103, Lawrenceburg proper 103, but it might stay just north of there. Alexander Springs 105. Again, potential tornado here on radar. That's why we have a tornado warning in effect. I should also say that we have severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm just going to call out the counties. And if I call out your county, you have the potential for straight line winds of 60 plus miles per hour. Talking about Murray County, Tennessee, especially the eastern part, all of Marshall County, Tennessee, north central Giles County, Tennessee, central and southeastern areas of Harden County, Tennessee, in north central areas of Tishomingo County, Mississippi. You are all under severe thunderstorm warnings. There are no warnings currently in effect for northwest Alabama. You see the little white counties on the map in the bottom left-hand corner. Those are heavy thunderstorm advisories for Lauderdale and Colbert counties. That's an early heads up for the storms that are still back into Tennessee and Mississippi. There are no warnings in northwest Alabama. There is a tornado watch in place until 5 a.m. for all of northwest Alabama, until 3 o'clock for all of southern middle Tennessee. So we continue to watch the broad rotation.
Looks like they've kind of trimmed the warning just a little bit.
Okay.
So we're starting to get a little bit more of a, they, for example, moved it a little more north on the southern side and honed it in a little bit. You can kind of see what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, it no longer includes downtown Lawrenceburg.
Yeah.
They've shifted it up so that the tornado warning polygon runs from roughly Ovilla to Deerfield to the far north side of Lawrenceburg, Etheridge, over to Pleasant Valley, and then northward. They're still including the Naco-Napier area. Unless the circulation develops farther north in the thunderstorm band, it still looks like that circulation is going to be south of there. But as a course of least regret, still continue to go through your tornado safety plans until we get you clear from this.
Again, looking at the camera behind the scenes here, I'm not seeing anything that's just jumping out as being just super suspicious. Definitely no power flashes, no lowering looking directly into it. But I will say that there is a ton of cloud-to-ground lightning in this storm as it approaches into western Lawrence, which leads me to believe that there's likely got to watch out for that electrical part. The electrical part also feeds into certain amounts of power outages as well. And so that is something to consider with the amount of cloud to ground that's coming down. And I'm visually confirming that here behind the scenes. And actually, folks can actually still see that in the double box there on screen.
Yeah, all these storms are really electrical, which increases the chances of you having power outages like Ben talked about. So have to be aware of that. Have to have multiple ways of hearing warnings in case your power goes out. You have to be a little creative sometimes with getting warnings when power goes out, and then it's a possibility. And then you have to throw in the potential for wind damage there too. The potential there's a tornadic circulation here, although I will say this looks much more like a straight line wind situation on radar than it looks like a tornado situation. It was a clear tornadic circulation on radar earlier when it was over Waynesboro. Getting a tornado warning for this was absolutely the right decision. However, the storm has morphed a little bit since then, It's strung itself out a little bit. Rotation has broadened. Storm structure has changed, and this is beginning to look more like a straight line wind situation here. So, guys, I'll let you monitor the cameras behind the scene. Let's go back full.
Wayne County 911 reporting no damage, but they do have several power outages through the central part of the county.
Okay, which telling no damage but power outages, that may be more of like lightning hitting a substation or a transformer or something like that. Guys in these counties in southern middle Tennessee are really good about relaying damage reports when there is damage, so we will know within short order when damage happens. So that's certainly good news there that we're not hearing of damage with the circulation so far. But you still want to take these seriously as a course of least regret. Again, you still have the tornado warning here. It's now north of downtown Lawrenceburg, but from the north side of town, I would say roughly around Heine's Barbecue and the industrial complex on the north side of town up through Etheridge, Alexander Springs, Summertown, Pleasant Valley, back into the Henryville area, Center, Deerfield, Ovilla, back into the Trace. That's the area where we have the tornado warning. And then the far, far, far eastern areas of Wayne County, they're still holding the tornado warning as far north as Napier and Lewis County. But again, the more we look at this, the more it looks like if there's a tornadic circulation there, it's staying south of Lewis County as it looks. So...
And I would also second just the structure of it. You really see that bowing segment just crossing the state line right now, so that shows that punch of wind coming in on the backside of it. That's probably a good 60, 70 mile an hour gusts in that as well. So we're definitely seeing that morphing that you were mentioning earlier ongoing with this supercell at the moment.
Yep. Hearing some reports that some folks on a Roku are having problems with the stream dropping out. If you have that problem, or if you see comments in the live stream of people having that problem, tell them to flip over to their YouTube app on their TV, and you're a lot more likely to still get the live signal here, even if there are issues with Roku. The Roku is directly fed through a server. We may be, with our traffic here, we may be temporarily maxing out that server. That happens every now and then.
That is very, very likely at this point. That's what I'm actually working on right now.
So yeah, if you can't get us, you see folks in the live stream commenting that they can't, the Roku stop, tell them to join YouTube on their TV. They can still watch. That shouldn't be an issue over there. But again, tornado warning continues. The circulation, what broad circulation there is shifting out of Wayne County. Give it 5 more minutes on Highway 64 in Wayne County. The circulation will be solidly over into Lawrence County at that time. Let's hit some type of reflectivity and look at a larger view.
Sure thing.
And some of the other storms coming through.
I'll go OHX and I'll kind of drag you up just to kind of where the active warnings are right now. We're starting to lose the stuff up here in southern Tennessee. So here's what we've got right now. Matter of fact, it might be better off
GWX.
On GWX, yeah. So here's what we've got right now.
I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, sure. I was just mentioning how we still are focusing on that line in northeast Mississippi too, which does not have any tornado warnings anymore. We've actually lost that. That was moving through portions of Alcorn County. It is right now. In fact, Corinth is getting hammered with a lot of lightning, probably some damaging winds, and probably some hail with that too, but no tornado warnings down there at the moment. Also up into Harden County, south of the highway more than anything, south of Highway 64 in Savannah proper. You're probably not seeing too much in the way of heavy storms anymore. I'd still probably give it 5-10 minutes before I'd be too comfortable sitting next to windows, but it's starting to move into southern portions of Wayne County, and we're starting to see that kind of train back on itself, and of course that leads all the way up into northeastern Wayne County, southern portions of Lewis County, and really northern portions of Lawrence County right now with what we've been keeping a close eye on here over the last 15 to 20 minutes. And let me switch sites here. Matter of fact, I'm just going to drag up here. And yeah, we're starting to lose those warnings up there, so that's no more trouble. But looks like this is the most notable storm on the board right now.
All right. And which next thread are you on here? High top?
Yeah, right now I'm on high top, and I'll go ahead and see if anything else is... we're kind of between high top and OHX.
Yeah,
there.
let's look at the velocity on that's broad. Let's look at high top and see what that looks like.
Also broad.
And that's broad too. All right, now let's look at the live velocity and see what that thing looks like. And it's broad too. So there's a broad circulation there, but again, It may be more of a wind damage situation, but we have to watch it for a few more scans, see whether or not it tries to tighten up and produce a tornado, because conditions are still supportive and something in here could quickly tighten up at a moment's notice. So if you're still watching us, the rotation axis is out of Wayne County now. The shear axis is across the line into Lawrence County. So from the trace here, right on the county line, eastward across Avila, Deerfield, up to Center and Henryville, to Summertown, Alexander Springs, Etheridge, and that far, far northern part of Lawrenceburg, far northern part of the town, over to Pleasant Valley. Still, tornado warning remains in effect. Be in your safe place. If by some chance you're just now hearing us for whatever reason, I don't know how that would be the case, go to a small interior room such as a bathroom, a hallway, or a closet on the lowest floor of your site-built home, away from windows. Cover your head and neck from flying debris, and you have to be out of mobile homes. You have to be out of vehicles in situations like this. I know a lot of this is rural, but if you're closer to Etheridge or so, or the north side of Lawrenceburg, and you can get down to, say, for instance, one of these 24-hour gas stations like the Quick Marts that are open 24, and ride this storm out there for the next 20 or 30 minutes, that may be a good idea, and just let these things pass if you're in a mobile home, and use that as an option, because you don't want to be in a mobile home. Even if this is only straight line wind, you could have some problems with that. Ben, I see you have the Etheridge camera up. What you got over there?
So I've switched over to the Etheridge camera, which is going to give you a little bit more of a different perspective. And that's going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning for Colbert and Lauderdale.
Okay.
That's going to be effective until 1:45. We'll hop down there in just a second. But looking at Etheridge, you can see a shelf cloud, or at least I think it is a shelf cloud there being illuminated. And that's going to be west-northwest on the Etheridge Tower side.
Yeah, that should be then, if that's what that is.
Perfect.
And you can see 67 there with a dew point of 64. Now, the winds are a little east-northeast, but with dew points in the mid-60s, that's not a big deal. Yeah, that's a clear shelf cloud we have there on the horizon. So we'll go back to Viper radar. Let's take the new severe thunderstorm warning in northwest Alabama. This is the first warning of the night that we've had in northwest Alabama. This is the far, far, far northwest corner of Colbert County and the northwest corner of Lauderdale County here. A new severe thunderstorm warning till 1:45. Let's kind of mouse wheel a little bit tighter and get some of our smaller community a little bit tighter. There we go. All right, so this runs from about the Stewartsville area here, where you have Alabama Highway 20 and the Natchez Trace Parkway, down to Wright and Waterloo, up to the Wildlife Management area, down to about Riverton, almost Lane Springs, and then the polygon goes over to about the Bethel Grove area and near Cloverdale. It does not include Central Heights, does not include Rhodesville, does not include Oakland. It does not include the eastern part of Lauderdale County. It does not include Florence. Does not include Cherokee, does not include Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, Sheffield. It's this far northwest corner of Lauderdale and far northwest corner of Colbert there. Severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45 for the potential for some quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Now we'll back out the radar a little bit. It's going to be this little cluster of storms about to come across northern Tishomingo. So let's do a squall track along that. And east at about 45 or so miles per hour. Talk about some times of arrival. This will pick up northern Tishomingo and then into the new Alabama warning. Pine Flat, 12:54. Dosky at 12:58. Wildlife Management there in Lauderdale County, 12:59. Crossroads, 1 o'clock. Short, 1:03. Waterloo, Alabama, 1:14. Eastport, Mississippi, 1:15. Riverton, 1:17. Wright, 1:20. Cypress Inn at 1:20. Stewartsville, 1:26. Gravelly Springs, 1:27. Bethel Grove, 1:28. Threet, 1:28. And Rhodesville, 1:32. Again, this new severe thunderstorm warning does not include Florence, Tuscumbia, Sheffield, Muscle Shoals, Cherokee, Littleville, or Elgin, or Rogersville, or Killen, or any of those central and eastern parts of the counties. Guys, what y'all got going on over there? Okay, so we'll clear this off, go back to our tornado warning in Lawrence County, Tennessee.
I'll switch us back to live here. It's definitely got the best view of it.
Okay.
One moment here.
I'm not seeing anything come in just yet, and it's still a broad shear axis. We'll watch this area down here near Deerfield that looks a little more cyclonic, but it's still broad and weak. There's another one out here just southwest of center. Either one of those, there could be a quick tighten up. Tornado warning continues for these areas again till 1:15.
Honestly, I think the current frame highlights pretty well why you need to take these seriously, straight line winds or not, because it could be any given point within that storm where you see that surge out. And like Fred was just saying, right here, you get a punch of wind, that could take advantage and start rotating. Right down here, you get a punch of wind, that could take advantage and start rotating. So you need to watch that very carefully, and that's why you want to take these seriously, even though we are talking about also some straight line winds. Throughout the whole storm, these little things can take advantage of the environment. We've seen that happen many times before.
I don't have specifics, but we do have several damage reports starting to come in throughout the original warn path in Murray County.
Okay. From that storm earlier that had the tornado warning. Okay.
Yes, I've been informed by that, but we don't have specifics. They are working to get me that, but it does look like Columbia has sustained at least some forms of damage over the past few minutes.
Okay, and we did hear that already earlier that there was some damage around the Foodland or the grocery store that's there on the southwest side of town, so that makes a lot of sense from the storm that came through earlier. And we'll just have to watch for it. You can see a little curl here where Chase was pointing out that southern area we have to watch. There's a little forward curl, so we'll watch that carefully. Like you talked about, any surge of wind on the south side of that could spin that up into rotation. It's the same thing up here in your center. That's going to come eastward here across the northern side of Lawrenceburg, Etheridge, Alexander Springs, still watching as far north as Summertown. And then we'll watch over in the Giles County whether they eventually extend either a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. If everything stays broad like this, it's probably going to be a severe thunderstorm warning. But if we see things starting to tighten up, it may have to be a tornado warning instead. And again, keep in mind, we still have severe thunderstorm warnings back in the southeast Harden County, Tennessee for straight line wind damage. That carries over into southern areas of Wayne County, Tennessee, southwest areas of Lawrence County, Tennessee for gusty winds of 50, 60 miles an hour. Still have severe thunderstorm warnings for northern parts of Tishomingo County, Mississippi, and now severe thunderstorm warnings for the northwest corner of Lauderdale County, Alabama, and the far northwest corner of Colbert County, Alabama as well. All of that for gusty straight line winds that may be up to 60 miles an hour.
I'll tell you, one thing that is difficult in looking at the camera footage this evening is the fact that anything that's rotating is likely to be rain wrapped, which makes it almost impossible to see because you have a very, very, very heavy rain core, especially within the cell that's coming out of Wayne County and crossing through the Deerfield to center portion of northwest Lawrence County, Tennessee.
Yeah, and I went ahead and threw up the camera there on links 1 so we can, and we're still facing west, and we've still got a lot of lightning in there. Wow, look at that, for example. And we're starting to see the base of that shelf cloud really come on in there. I noticed that at the horizon whenever we get lit up. So we're at least seeing the front edge of that move on in here over the next few minutes. Let's see if we can get any.
So you haven't heard any new word yet in terms of what they may do with the tornado warning yet. Still waiting. That doesn't always have rapid updates with it. Sometimes they just watch radar scans and see the trends with them. But for right now, the tornado warning does continue. For Wayne County, Tennessee, I can pretty much tell you that the tornado threat with this storm is east of there. Looks like they're doing a new severe thunderstorm warning on across here for the line. This is going to be more Tennessee counties. So let's hit the southern Tennessee button.
Yeah, sure. That's Lewis, Murray, and Wayne. So.
It's several of them.
Yeah, let me go
It's
ahead
more
and
than that.
Switch to Giles, Lawrence, Lewis, Murray, and Wayne until 1:45.
Okay, so we're going to wait.
There you go.
All right, so what they're doing is they're doing one of two things, and I don't know which one yet. I have not heard yet. They're issuing either a background severe thunderstorm warning.
That's just the repeat.
And I don't know why that thing beeps 8 times for one warning. But that is either a background severe thunderstorm warning for the overall line, or they may be getting ready to let the tornado warning step down and just go with a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll get word here over the next few minutes for what they want to do. But pretty much from Waynesboro to Collinwood to Lutz to Cypress Inn to Fairview and Holly Creek in Wayne County, severe thunderstorm warning, and that goes until 1:45. Pretty much the entirety of Lawrence County, Tennessee. It does not include that southeast corner, but you might as well say it does because the storms will get there with time. So all of Lawrence County, Tennessee, severe thunderstorm warning in the background of the tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning to 1:45. Southern areas of Lewis County, Tennessee, especially closer to NACO and Napier, severe thunderstorm warning to 1:45. Southern Murray County, Tennessee, from Mount Pleasant over to Lebanon Heights to Culleoka, severe thunderstorm warning to 1:45. And then the northwest half of Giles County, Tennessee now, from just north of Minor Hill to downtown Pulaski, up 31A to the county line at I-65, northwestward through the northwest half of the county, severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45 for the potential for damaging straight line winds with this overall bow echo moving eastward at 45 miles an hour, regardless of whatever they want to do with the tornado warning that's in place in Lawrence County, Tennessee. So let's do a bow echo track along the whole leading edge of that thing, carry that east-ish, about 45-ish miles an hour. Have to do some ish here to see just some wiggle room type thing. Etheridge at 103 for the potential for gusty straight line winds. Lawrenceburg 103, Leoma 107, Alexander Springs 107, Pleasant Valley and Gum Springs 109, New Prospect 110, Liberty Hill 111, Jonestown 111, Crossroads 112, Revelo at 114, Union Hill 115, Campbellsville 116. Go ahead and right click so we can move further down the list. Bodenham at 117, Big Creek at 118.
Let me, let's see.
Pick up at Bodenham and do the first city for that.
All right, one moment. Bodenham First City. Hang on a second. It's frozen. Stand by.
All right, so just a second while Chase adjusts the track here.
There we go. Select that.
All right.
Sorry, it froze up.
Bodenham 117, Big Creek 118, Fall River 119, Olivet 124, Linville 126, Pulaski 128, Powell Chapel 130, Oak Grove 132, Crescent View 132, Brick Church 133, Ammotown 136, Beach Hill 137, Cornersville 138, Aspen Hill 140, and Estella at 141. Ben has some reports coming in. Ben, I'll let you talk whatever you got going on. And we'll full screen the radar while you do.
Okay. I have Murray County EMA Director Jeff Hardy on live with me now. Jeff, we're tracking a potential tornado through a good portion of Murray just a bit ago. What do you have at this point?
Yes, sir. We've got a couple reports of some damaged homes and shops or outbuildings. We've got multiple trees and power lines and power poles down. We're asking people to remain in their sheltered area, stay safe, have multiple ways to get alerts. We have another round coming as you guys have been reporting. And so we're asking for some patience as we try and get through that. And if people obviously have issues or problems, please dial 911 and we'll get to you as quick as we can.
All right. Jeff Hardy, Murray County EMA. I appreciate you, but if you need me, call.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, Jeff, for that report. And that's not surprising given the storms that were coming through earlier. One thing I don't want you to do if you're in those areas around Columbia, please don't go sightseeing. It's 1 o'clock in the morning to begin with, and then you have heavy rain, more storms coming in. There are crews out there checking to make sure everybody's okay in the damaged areas. Don't get in their way. This doesn't sound like high intensity tornado damage or anything like that, you still don't need to be in the way of the emergency crews that are out there working the damage, even if they're not searching for people that may need help, that kind of thing. Still have not heard any word on what we're going to do with the tornado warning for Lawrence County, Tennessee. They have officially cleared it out of Wayne County. It does look like we have a comma head here in the far northern parts of Lawrence County, so let's focus in tighter on this. That's a clear comma head and reflectivity coming over the Henryville area now, so let's go to storm relative velocity. And there's a broad rotation in there. We don't have it over us yet to be attenuated on the live radar, do we?
No, and you actually kind of can see that comma head feature on the velocities, how it surges back around.
Yeah. So you do have a rotation there. It's a bit broad, but that's what you would watch near the Henryville area, moving over toward Alexander Springs and the south side of Summertown. Within the next few minutes, it will be approaching Highway 43 near or north of Alexander Springs and then headed over toward the Jonestown area. Again, there's still a tornado warning for the next several minutes for this portion of the line right here. That goes until 1:15, so another 12 minutes. Have not heard if National Weather Service is going to expand tornado warning over or what they may do with that. Keep in mind there's now a new background overall severe thunderstorm warning till 1:45 for the potential for gusty straight line winds for that entire line, for the entire county pretty much. Keep in mind there are also severe thunderstorm warnings. So let me just call out the counties overall, or let's hit that watch warning map, Chase, and just show an overall reset of the watches and warnings across the area. The red polygon we have, the far, far southeast sliver of Lewis County, Tennessee, and northern parts of Lawrence County, Tennessee, that's still a tornado warning remaining until 1:15. Yellow polygons are severe thunderstorm warnings. This one here is until 1:45. That's south, central, and southern Murray, southern Lewis, the northwestern half of Giles, the entirety of Lawrence, the southeastern half of Wayne, and then another severe thunderstorm warning till 1:15 back here for the southeastern half of Harden County, Tennessee, the northern third of Tishomingo County, Mississippi, and then until 1:45, this northwest corner of Lauderdale County, Alabama, and the northwest corner of Colbert County, Alabama. That's a continued severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado watch in effect until 3 a.m. remains in effect for southern middle Tennessee, although they will start to clear counties as the line moves on through over the next hour or so. Tornado watch for North Mississippi and Northwest Alabama valid until 5 a.m. Storms are just about to start creeping into Northwest Alabama. We haven't been able to focus on you too much yet because the storms really haven't arrived there yet. As the storms move in, we will start to focus on you there.
Fred, I've got looking straight into that comma head over Henryville from the Etheridge Skycam. And that is a rain shaft to end all rain shafts looking directly into it. I've noted a change of direction in wind here over the past couple moments as that edge approaches the Etheridge community. But again, just absolutely horrific lightning lighting up on that camera.
Okay.
So do you want me to move Lawrenceburg? Because that's still westbound.
You probably, it's about to be on top of us.
Yeah.
Oof.
So things are probably about to get loud in the background here at our studios. So just bear with us as we go through this, because where we're located, the leading edge is about to just about to be on top of us here at the Tennessee Valley Weather Center.
Yep, getting those raindrops on the camera. It's coming in fast. That much is for sure.
All right, Lawrenceburg and Lawrence County EMA, Bill Phillips reporting an area of interest coinciding with that rotation we've seen on OHX radar. He says it's not enough for a wall cloud or funnel cloud, but they apparently see maybe a lowered base or something out there that coincides with it. So not sure what's going to happen with a warning situation. We are down to 7 minutes, 45 seconds on the tornado warning for northern Lawrence County, Tennessee. We'll see how that goes over the next few minutes, but stay in your shelters until we can tell you there's no longer tornado threat. I can't tell you that at this time. And keep in mind, there were overall background severe thunderstorm warnings for a large part of Wayne, Murray, Lewis, Giles, and Lawrence counties, Tennessee. For Harden County, Tennessee, Tishomingo County, Mississippi, and for Northwest Lauderdale County, Alabama, Northwest Colbert County, Alabama, although as of yet, that does not include Florence, Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, or Sheffield at this time. The storms are just now getting to that northwest tip of Alabama at this time. There goes the $16 car wash moving overhead.
Oh, yeah.
I ran out and soaked mine up real quick. So.
Yeah, let's get the Armageddon pollen cloud off of everybody's cars tonight. So let's go back in and focus on our comma head.
All right.
And look at velocity and see what we have, because that is a clear comma head feature on reflectivity. It's still very, very broad in the velocity field, however, which is certainly good news because...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but that is broad, and I just wanted to mention in the same storm, right? The kind of south of Etheridge, just north of Lawrenceburg, sort of a new shear line kind of developing there. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes these hand off further south, so we'll have to watch that. That may be an issue over into northern Giles County, so Pleasant Valley over to Campbellsville, Bodenham, to the Olivet and Linville areas. Watch that carefully in case that tries to ramp up, and that's coming right over us here over the next minute or two on the northeast side of Lawrenceburg there off Wickley Creek Road. That little enhancement of the wind, where there's a broad couplet that's coming over us here pretty much as we speak.
And I was just taking a look at our live radar behind the scenes, but we are getting very attenuated, unsurprisingly, with these smaller X bands, so that's not going to be so useful here in the coming minutes. Although right now, we do actually still have kind of the initial winds, if you notice here. It's not going to be so useful further north, but you can see the initial punch of winds with this line, and we're looking pretty much as low as you can get. You really can't get any lower than this. And looking over the areas here right now, we're seeing gusts in the 40 to 50 mile an hour range right now. So it's packing a little bit of a punch, that much is for sure. And we can hear that in the studio.
Excuse me. Yeah, so if that mid-level couplet we saw was actually in the lower levels,
we would see it.
We would still see it here despite being attenuated. And we're not seeing it, which is certainly good news.
Yes, it is.
I imagine unless something tightens up there, they're probably going to let the tornado warning go.
We do have a report of small hail in Lawrenceburg from EMS workers. No, actually, I take it back. We have confirmed pea-sized hail outside here right now.
Okay. And just to be clear, I know a lot of people love to report pea-sized hail, and we welcome the reports. Don't think that is severe criteria. That is substantially smaller than severe criteria. I'm mentioning that because a lot of people think just because they see hail of any size whatsoever that there's supposed to be a severe thunderstorm warning. In order for that hail to be severe criteria, it actually has to be the size of a quarter or larger. A 25-cent piece has to be an inch in diameter, because what they're trying to do, they're trying to flag a thunderstorm that's capable of producing damage. And pea-sized hail is loud and it will get your attention, but pea-sized hail isn't going to dent your vehicles. Quarter-sized hail is when you really start increasing those odds. We do have a broad notch there in the same part of that line where we've seen the broad rotation on the northeast side of Lawrenceburg, but we know here over the past few minutes it has not been a low-level rotation, which is certainly good news. We still have the common head echo up near Alexander Springs approaching Highway 43. No signs of a tight low-level rotation with that. So they might let this step down to a severe thunderstorm warning. It honestly doesn't matter if the winds are rotating or not. We've already had reports of damage tonight. It doesn't matter if it's a straight line wind or a small spin-up tornado. You need to be inside away from windows until the storms get on through here. And if you can get to the lowest floor, that's the best place to be. You're not having to be underground or any of that nonsense.
I'll tell you, Fred, it's the little radar that could. We can see that comma head there, and it does have a slight it's broad. It's not very
Go to
strong.
reflectivity, because I feel like that may be a little west.
It's kind of right there in that. Matter of fact, here I'll throw up OHX so we can get a little continuity. Right now, it does seem to be a little further west. You're right there, but we're keeping close.
Yeah, if anything would be behind, it would be the next rad. So that tells me that that's on back there in the stratiform rain.
So
all right, we're under 3 minutes on that tornado warning.
Yep. All right. And besides that, of course, we still have that very broad, as Fred said, background severe thunderstorm warning across much of southern Middle Tennessee. And that's not to forget northwestern Alabama as well, right? We're not ignoring you down here. That first push of that supercell, kind of in the line, really more of a line now than anything, is making it into northwestern Lauderdale right now. So you're northwest of Waterloo, out in the more rural areas. I know there's some campground resorts out there. It's just now starting to come down out there as well.
National Weather Service in Nashville reports that they will not continue a tornado warning for Lawrence, but the severe will continue.
All right, so unless something new spins up, and I'm going to let you guys talk after I finish this, so I can go get a drink because we're starting to get a little dry throat over here. But unless something new spins up, we're about to be down to only severe thunderstorm warnings. I still want you to take those seriously because we're seeing increasing reports of damaging straight line wind, and it does not matter if the wind is blowing in a straight line or if it's rotating as a tornado.
All right, fantastic, very good. So Fred, you can go ahead and get yourself some water, get yourself a drink. We'll kind of do just a base level reset here. We'll start right now. It's 1:13 in the morning here at the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. It's an active morning, that much is for sure. I'll go ahead and throw over to radar, and sure enough, there you go. There's your yellow polygons all over the place. So this red polygon, this tornado warning in northern Lawrence County, that's about to go. We're about to not have any issues with that. But down in northwestern Alabama, North Mississippi, we've still got those severes going on, right? So let's go ahead and take a look a little bit more here in these detail. Let's go to HTX here. We're kind of going back between radars, and here we go. Northwestern Alabama. You know, we've not been talking about you very much. That's for good reason. We don't ignore anybody, so I want you guys to know that. So now that we're heading into northwestern Alabama with these storms, we're talking about you. So don't think we've been ignoring you, not at all. So out here in the Lauderdale County Wildlife Management Area, that's kind of what I was talking about. There's some campgrounds out there, very rural portions of the county. You're starting to see that big time cell embedded in the line move on in. Could see some hail with that, but I think damaging winds are the main threat with this. And let me check velocities to see what we're seeing. Yeah, nothing really stands out as rotational per se, so we'd probably see some winds kind of pushing down there, maybe up to 50, 60 miles an hour. Tishomingo County, it's the same situation, right? We're not seeing anything that screams rotation. There's a little bit of broad rotation here, but it's just not enough to really cause any major concern. Still, severe thunderstorm warnings, you don't want to be outside for that goodness forbid at 1:14 in the morning, but especially by windows, go ahead, go inside away from windows. Don't necessarily take your safety precautions for tornadoes for these, but yeah, go ahead, inch inside. This is not weather you want to be next to a window, and that much is for sure. And I noticed they kind of trimmed this severe back. They're probably going to issue a new one here shortly. So so there you go right there. Exactly. They just kind of reissued that. Really no major changes actually to the placement of it, but we're starting to see stuff kind of slough off, and there you go. They've gone ahead and expired that tornado warning up here in southern Middle Tennessee as well. Let me go ahead and check that. And yeah, now it's just kind of that blanket severe warning for this Boeing line with still that comma head there across the area. Fred's back here. He's got himself a little bit of hydration. We're all getting a little dry mouthed out here.
All right, so let's go to the watch warning map so that we can reset. You may have already talked about polygons, but so that I can reset along with you, and we will right-click that box.
Oh, sorry.
They like to pop up when there's a new alert in the background. Southern portions of Murray, southern portions of Lewis, north and western portions of Giles, all of Lawrence, southeastern areas, southern and eastern areas of Wayne County, you remain under a severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45. A new severe thunderstorm warning till 2 o'clock. Southern areas of Harden County, Tennessee, northern areas of Tishomingo County, Mississippi, now including Iuka, until 1:45. That northwest corner of Lauderdale County, that far northwest sliver of Colbert County in northwest Alabama, severe thunderstorm warning again, that's until 1:45. All of our Tennessee counties continue under a tornado watch technically until 3 a.m., but as storms move on out of a particular county, they're pretty good about removing counties from tornado watches. Northwest Alabama, North Mississippi, until 5 a.m., tornado watch continues across the area. Let's take radar. This is Viper Live Doppler radar. And again, there are currently no tornado warnings across the area. The most concerning in terms of just general storm intensity, the most concerning radar signature is this bow echo moving out of north central areas of Lawrence County, Tennessee, in the northwest Giles. So let's go to HTX radar. It's a little closer and a little lower.
Here you go.
And you still have your bow echo. So let's do an overall storm track along this thing. And then east at 45, talk about some times of arrival for the potential for gusty straight line winds that could be up to 60 miles an hour. There we go. Revelo at 119, Campbellsville, Tennessee at now, Bodenham 120, Fall River 123, Linville at 126, Olivet 128, Pulaski 131, Powell Chapel 133, Crescent View 136, Brick Church 138, Cornersville 139, Ammittown, that's starting with an A, not with any other letters, Ammittown at 139, Beach Hill at 140, Ostella at 145, and Frank Ewing at 145. Potential for a damaging straight line wind up to 60 to 70 miles an hour with the storms as they move through. I'll let you guys decide when we want to punch up sky cams and things like that. Just let me know.
Cool. Yeah, we're keeping an eye on those in the background. Lots of lightning. That is the story of the night.
Okay.
That much is for sure.
All right.
We're also keeping an eye on the sensors, so kind of for gusts and things like that.
Okay.
Ben, have you seen anything remarkable or anything on that? I haven't really been looking, but I haven't seen any crazy high gusts so far.
No, I've not seen any, other than what we had here at the office a little bit ago. Everything else has been fairly routine. I've got the Pulaski camera pulled up now, which they are ahead of what's just crossed over through Lawrence County and then back up into southern Murray. Nothing happening on the Pulaski Fort Hill camera at the moment. Looking at Lawrenceburg, the Lawrenceburg North Cam has really settled down. Etheridge camera has settled down too. I think we're just kind of in between. We've got a couple camera sites that are about to come online through there, but they are not active as of yet, which would give us a interesting view as to what's going on there. But I think it would just be more of the same.
You might get a view of some lightning if it's not too covered by the tree line from the Linville camera, because we keep it usually looking westward.
All right, I got you, Linville.
I'm not too sure. Yep, we're looking north right now, so let me jump in here and swing that thing around west, because I'm right in the interface as we speak. You can still see the frequent lightning even looking north, though, but this is across Highway 31, and you can see the cloud base here off in the distance from the approaching line of thunderstorms. Again, we're not trying to find a tornado or anything like that. There's not a tornado warning. We don't see any tight circulations. We're just looking at the lightning frequency and the general conditions of the storms moving in. Both the temperature and dew point are 68. I think that particular one comes from, that may come from the METAR.
Yeah, the airport
Pulaski.
METAR.
All right. So there we go there.
I can
7.
give
What
you
you got?
New Prospect real quick.
Okay. This is going to be out on the east side of town. Now, you see the airport lights in this thing, so I'm going to warn you ahead of time. It looks like the green Power Ranger and the white Power Ranger chasing each other around the aircraft tower.
Maybe.
But we'll have us a live view out of New Prospect, Tennessee here in just a moment. That should be ready on the toolbar too. Yeah, those are programmed into the toolbar as well.
Sorry.
You're
I didn't
good.
see it in there.
51, what? And look, there they go.
Oh, see that? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so conditions are old there, but you can see torrential rain falling down. Still looks like it's wind-driven rain as well. Lightning is still frequent. So yeah, right now it's a really windy, loud, gusty thunderstorm coming through out of eastern portions of Lawrence County, Tennessee, in the western Giles as we speak. So we'll clear off there, go back to Viper Live radar. Let's go back into northwest Alabama and look at some of the storms that are approaching from the northwest. Earlier near the Pickwick Dam, we did have a report of quarter-size hail with these storms. These are starting to enter northwest Alabama now. So let's do a squall track from Burnsville, Mississippi, up to about Collinwood, Tennessee. Go east, southeast-ish, down to, like that, about 45 miles an hour. Maybe a little more east.
About like,
yeah, something like that.
Okay.
These are times of arrival here. We have Waterloo now, Eastport 125, Riverton at 126, Wright 128, Cypress Inn 128, Iuka 128, Stewartsville 131, Threet 133, Holly Creek 135, West Point 135, Fairview 135, Gravelly Springs 136, Bethel Grove 136, Lane Spring 137, Marjoram 139. Let's move on down the list a little bit. Pick us up at Marjoram and make that the first city. There we go. Cloverdale 139, Rhodesville 140, Iron City and Central Heights 142, Zip City 143, Wilson 145, St. Joe 146, Cherokee and Loretta at 146, Smithsonia 148, Oakland 148, Jacksonburg 150, Green Hill and Union Hill 151. And let's move on down the list a little bit more here.
Where are we at, Union Hill?
Union Hill.
All right, stand by. Yeah,
And this is for the overall line of thunderstorms coming across southern Wayne, southern Lawrence, moving into the overall Shoals metro area here over the next 45 to 60 minutes.
Sorry, live TV, it keeps not responding, freezing up on me here. Let's see here. There we go. So we're at Union Hill, select that. There we go.
All right, so Underwood, Petersville, 152. Liberty Grove and Barton at 153. St. Florine, 155. Woodland, 156. Bailey Springs, 156. 5 Points. Parkertown and Arkdale at 157. Florence, downtown, 159. Lexington, 2 o'clock. Killen at 201. And Bonnertown at 202. Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals, Sheffield, and Florence right around 2 o'clock or a couple minutes after that. So we'll clear off the track. Again, main threats here, quarter-size hail, gusty winds up to 60 miles an hour. Let's briefly look at storm relative velocity just to make sure we're not looking at anything. But structurally, these don't look like tornado producers. We will watch them carefully. Keep in mind, until 145, northwestern areas of Lauderdale, far northwest Colbert remain under a severe thunderstorm warning. And in northern parts of Tishomingo, severe thunderstorm warning goes until 2 o'clock. That includes far southern areas of Harden County as well.
And also, back behind it, we're starting to see some more severes pop outside of our area, but those will probably be into Tishomingo here in just a little bit.
Yeah, so down the line, the stuff that's west of Boonville will eventually, over the next hour and a half, come across southern Tishomingo County. That will pick up more of Colbert and Franklin counties with time, but that's still more than an hour away. It's the more immediate storms that we're watching more carefully.
Fred, I'm still monitoring the situation evolving out of Murray County. Again, Murray is not currently under the gun from anything that's just jumping off. I mean, we've got still the severe warning for the far southern portion of Murray from Mount Pleasant southward. But as far as Columbia proper goes, Columbia is just seeing rain at the moment inside the city. I would tell you that it is confirmed that they do have several several damaged structures in Murray County. Also, they do have reports of some injuries, several poles down, multiple trees down, and at least Cross Bridges Road has been deemed impassable as of right now.
So we don't want to say anything for certain because, we didn't have a debris signature there, and you know how that works with the radar and such, but the damage is starting to sound more like tornado damage than just straight line wind damage. That's not the current storm in the south part of the county that's produced that damage. That's the earlier one that had the tornado warning for central areas of Murray County. That was issued with plenty of lead time and all that, but it does sound like there's some damage that sounds more like tornado damage than straight line wind damage from that storm earlier. Just taking a look at some cameras here behind the scenes.
course, we got so many across the area. As this progresses through, we have a various amount. And right now, we're looking at Linville once again here. It's approaching pretty quickly. See anything over here?
We did have a few interesting features on that a few minutes ago, but I'm not seeing that as of right now. But still, that is where that camera is located. That is still just about half a mile before the core of that gets into the camera view, and eventually we lose sight there because, of course, the rain is going to be torrential when it crosses over Highway 31. That camera is located, by the way, at Richland High School.
All right, so let's do this. We haven't really had a chance to do this yet because things have been a little more active, but let's go to Viper, hit the DMA view button, hit the radar network, and turn the lightning off and the skits off for just a moment.
Sure thing. Stand by. There you go.
What I want to do is I want to just point out where things are and then give some all clears here where things have started to end for the night. Line of severe thunderstorms picks up in the southern part of Murray County. It's approaching Pulaski now and then stretches down to about the north side of Loretta, Tennessee, in Lawrence County. That first segment is moving eastward. It will be coming across Pulaski over the next few minutes with the potential for 60, maybe 70 mile per hour straight line wind. There's probably going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning from Marshall County, Giles County here over the next few minutes as the storms move east. And then Huntsville Weather Service will likely include Lincoln County, which is just outside the viewing area. The next cluster of severe storms picks up near Walnut Grove in southeast Harden County, Tennessee. It's approaching Waterloo, Alabama, and it goes from Burnsville, Mississippi, all the way back to near Ripley, Mississippi. That line segment is coming east to east-southeast. That's going to be moving through the shoals over the next hour to hour and a half and moving through a large part of northwest and northern Alabama. It is also trying to backbuild to the south so that places like Russellville and Red Bay and Moulton will eventually be impacted over the next couple of hours as that moves in. You hear the rain picking back up on our roof here in Lawrenceburg again. Let me talk about where the threats ended for a few people so you can go to sleep. If you're watching us in Lewis County, Tennessee, you're behind the line of thunderstorms. It's over for the night. Lewis County, Tennessee, you can go to bed. Savannah and northward in Harden County, Tennessee, it's over for the night and you can go to bed as well. Highway 64 and northward in Wayne County, Tennessee, from out here Clifton Junction to Waynesboro over to the Trace on Highway 64 northward, you can go to sleep too because it's over. Roughly from Highway 64 northward in Lawrence County, Tennessee, the threat of severe weather is over for you as well. It's the southern part of the county. I know they still have all of the county in the polygon. They just have not trimmed it behind the line, and there's not another line of severe thunderstorms coming. So if you live north of Highway 64 in Lawrence County, Tennessee, you can go to bed as well. Threat's over. Even though it's loud outside, there's still heavy rain, there's still lightning. Highway 412 in northward in Murray County, Tennessee. So from Poplar Top to downtown Columbia, over here to where the tornado hit last May, northward up through Spring Hill and the northwest corner in Murray County, it's over for you for the night as well. Everywhere else in the viewing area along and ahead of the line, which includes all of northwest Alabama, we're not done yet. We have to get this line through here, and a tornado watch is valid for all of northwest Alabama until 5 a.m. It's going to be a few more hours before we get the line on through here, hoping that eventually the line can settle down in intensity. But not currently seeing any signs of doing that, especially that segment back there in northeast Mississippi that will eventually move into northwest Alabama, nor am I seeing any true weakening with the line segment that's coming across the northern half of Giles County, Tennessee at this time. So that's the one we'll take on single site radar. We'll go in tighter here.
There we go.
All right, highest potential for damaging straight line wind with this is going to be with the bow echo. That's going to be from Pulaski to Olivet to Linville eastward in the county. So they're probably about to have to issue a new severe thunderstorm warning. I would imagine for the southern half of Marshall County, Tennessee, and the remainder of Giles County, Tennessee. Honestly, it may come out here in the next minute or two. Haven't heard that, but unless they're just not going to extend the warning on eastward, the radar presentation is going to back them into a corner to where storms are moving out of the polygon. They're going to have to do something here soon. That warning does expire at 1:45. Not seeing any signs of tornadic rotation with any of this. That looks like a broad shear axis up and down US 31 from Pulaski up to the Linville area. And if we go quiet for just a minute and we look down and something that's not TV friendly looking or something like that, we're absorbing information from sources, whether it's National Weather Service, whether it's EMA, other spotters, sky cams behind the scenes, things like that. That's what's going on.
Fortunately, besides what we've been getting in Murray County, we haven't heard too much unless you guys have elsewhere, but we're still kind of working with our EMA friends to see that Murray County situation. But besides that, for the rest of us, so far, not too much on the board as far as those reports are concerned. But if you
Drew notes there's very little wind in the Linville location as the line has come across. And whatever gust front there is has already come across there. So if there was going to be damaging wind at that site, it would have already hit. So at least in that part of the line, damaging wind may either be spotty or the storms may be just slightly elevated enough to keep the worst of the wind from quite reaching the surface of the ground. We still want you to take the severe thunderstorm warning seriously until we get them off the board, however.
Seen a couple reports on social media of some hail in northern Lawrence County over the last 30 minutes as well. Anywhere from peas to dimes, not much larger than that, but that does kind of show that those are some pretty good downpours that just moved through with that severe storm nonetheless. I mean, that's
and it certainly sounded like the $16 or the $20 car wash coming across our studio here as it went through earlier.
Yes, it did. That tin roof sure amplifies.
Yes, indeed.
Otherwise, right here.
Not seeing any new information from NWS Huntsville either. However, the storms are just now easing into northwestern areas of Lauderdale and Colbert County, so that's not too much of a surprise. Let me see if there's anything back in Tishomingo from Memphis, NWS. Not really seeing any true wind reports there either. Just the earlier quarter-size hail that we had near Pickwick Dam there in southern Harden County earlier ago. So not seeing anything new from any of the storms, which is certainly good news, because in a situation like this where you're not dealing with large, long-track tornadoes, most of the time, no news is good news, because you have storms come across these big metro areas where you still have folks with generators that can get information out if there is damage. Now, if we were hypothetically in some situation that we're not, but if we were hypothetically in a situation to where we're dealing with these big tornadoes that we're not dealing with tonight, but if it was that type of night, no news isn't always good news, because sometimes in a situation like that, no news means that people can't get information out to the outside world. That's not the case. We've gotten some reports earlier from these areas, just not seeing continued reports coming in from these storms the past several minutes, which is certainly good news, except for the small hail reports.
I'm going to zoom us back out here.
All right, so we're going to have, as I thought, we're going to have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming across now for more of Giles County. It's going to pick up Marshall County, and I think it's going to get southeastern areas of Murray County as well. It's for this bow echo coming across. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to run us until
2:15.
2:15. We'll get here's the polygon.
Perfect.
All right, so pretty much in Marshall County from Chapel Hill southward in the county, you're in a new severe thunderstorm warning. The polygon does technically go as far northwest as downtown Columbia, but I can tell you that the storms are southeast of there and moving away. We'll zoom in a little bit closer and get some of the communities to pop up. It's really from Lebanon Heights and Bryant Station to Culleoka to Campbell Station. That's the concern in Murray County. For Marshall County, Chapel Hill, Willowit Mills, Laws Hill, Farmington, Lewisburg, Petersburg, Cornersville to Ostella, and then we'll pan back into Giles County, and this is going to pick up more of the county. This is going to be the northeast quadrant of the county, so Linville to Olivet, to Pulaski, to Crescent View, to near Bunker Hill, to Frank Ewing, to Beach Hill, to Brick Church. That's a new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to run until 2:15 for the potential with this bow echo for 60 mile per hour straight line winds. And there could be some dime and a quarter size hail mixing in. Let's do a storm track on the leading edge of the bow configuration here and push eastward. Now, it's already raining and lightning ahead of that. This is for the potential for gusty straight line winds. And I can tell you over the next 30 minutes, this is going to get out of the viewing area, if not a little faster than that. Ammontown is moving into your area now. Brick Church, Mooresville now. Beach Hill, 140. Cornersville, 142. Ostella, 146. Frank Ewing, 146. Lewisburg, 147. Brown Shop, 153. Boones Hill, 154. Farmington, 155. Petersburg, 158. Howell and Bedford at 204. And now you're starting to get it on east of the viewing area by this time. So by 2 o'clock, that leading edge of this storm cluster here with the damaging wind, that will be out of the viewing area and moving on to the east. So that's the situation with the new warning, severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15 for southeast Murray, pretty much almost all of Marshall, and then northeast Giles County in Tennessee.
Just checking a couple other things here, and I'm just still seeing the same signatures we saw earlier of just broad shear lines. Definitely still a straight line wind thing than anything else. In fact, this is kind of where you get into base velocity if it was moving a little closer to the radar anyways. But yeah, nothing screaming out to me there at the moment in terms of rotation.
Huntsville Weather Service is noting the severe storm back in Tippah County, Mississippi has an impressive hail core with it. And they do mention that it will probably be approaching Colbert and Franklin counties in about 45 minutes. So we'll just look at a regional view of northwest Alabama, northeast Mississippi, and just catch those storms and go to GWX.
There you go.
It's the storm that's off to the west of Booneville here that they're worried about, coming out of Tippah into Prentiss County, moving east-southeast at about 45. They think within the next 45 minutes or so, that's going to be knocking on the door of western Colbert County and northwest Franklin County. So heads up here before too long, probably about another 20 minutes or less, we're going to pick up a severe thunderstorm warning for central and southern Tishomingo County in northeast Mississippi. And then about 30 to 45 minutes away, we're probably going to pick up a severe thunderstorm warning for at least the western parts of Colbert and the northwestern parts of Franklin County in Alabama as these storms continue to move in. But we still have strong thunderstorms moving into the Waterloo area up to Cypress Inn and the Lutz area here in Wayne County and Lauderdale County currently as we speak. And there are still severe thunderstorm warnings in these areas. So we'll zoom in there, zoom in a little tighter. Yeah, some of the heaviest weather right now is just south of Lutz, moving into the Cypress Inn area, then extending back to Waterloo. I think if there's gusty straight line wind potential, it's for this little bow configuration here, moving into Cypress Inn, now approaching Holly Creek and Fairview. So let's do a storm track just on the leading edge of the bow with that and go eastward. We'll do some times of arrival here. And again, this is not for rain and lightning. This is for gusty straight line winds. Stewartsville, moving into the area now, Cypress Inn, pretty much the next minute or two. 143, Cloverdale 148, Bethel Grove 150, Fairview 152, Zip City 156, Wilson 158, Holly Creek 159, Iron City at 2 o'clock, St. Joe 206, Green Hill 207, Parkertown and Loretta 212, Arkdale 215, and Liberty Grove at 216. The potential for some gusty straight line winds, 50, 60 miles per hour with that. However, National Weather Service has noted that for now, they're going to let this severe thunderstorm warning for Lauderdale and Colbert counties expire. They may feel that the wind damage potential is going down with that. I would still be inside away from windows. It doesn't matter. It may just be 40, 50 mile per hour winds. You want to be inside away from windows because of that potential. and the lightning potential as well. So we are about to at least temporarily lose that severe thunderstorm warning in western Lauderdale, northwest Colbert, until we get additional storms that get a little bit closer.
Everything that I've seen back here is relatively calm. The max wind gust was like 15 in Pulaski, at least that I observed when the main line came through. Now winds are sustained about 8 miles an hour through the middle of town there. And I would say that that's probably about the same for points back out to the north and east, where that line continues to now move across the 31A corridor and approach Lewisburg.
So honestly, this may be, and we had a similar situation in Linville as the apex of the bow came over, and there just wasn't a lot of wind with it. So it may be a situation where Chase and I were talking about this before we really ramped up into the coverage, that it looked like the boundary layer, the low levels were starting to decouple a little bit, and the instability was becoming elevated, so that these thunderstorms aren't able to tap the surface-based air to get damaging winds all the way down to the ground efficiently produce tornadoes. Stronger storms can still do that, and I think we've had that in several cases, but it may be getting much harder for the storms to do that now as we're getting later into the overnight. Temperatures are cooling out of the 70s into the mid-60s. Even where it hasn't been rain cooled yet, we're probably starting to lose the surface-based instability, and it's becoming more of an elevated situation, which would certainly be good news. That would not remove the damaging wind potential, but it would certainly step it down. And that may indeed explain why we really haven't seen the gusty winds here for the past 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, we're just looking at some lightning shots, again, behind the scenes on the various cameras. And it's a pretty much uniform situation. We are looking into northwest Alabama cameras right now, and nothing is just jumping off the screen as being abnormal for what you would expect to see in an event like this.
Right.
Never mind.
I can tell you it's a little warmer in the shoals. Our UNA sensors have a temperature of 70 and a dew point of 66. So if we get any really organized storms move into northwest Alabama, they may be a little closer to surface based, but even then, on a night like tonight, 70 may be a little marginal to have surface based storms given the situation. What were you guys pointing out?
Oh, just watching the watch behind us kind of get eroded with time as the storms
Okay,
move out.
did they clear Lewis County out of the watch?
Yes, they did. That's what I was actually mentioning.
All right, so we like good news, so let's pop the watch warning map up, and we'll talk about what we have here. First off, first county in the viewing area that's been able to be cleared from the tornado watch from the night. We already told you it was over earlier, but Lewis County, Tennessee, you're officially done with the tornado watch. Harden County, Tennessee, probably going to be the same thing before long as well. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue from Marshall County, Tennessee, southeast Murray, north central area. Well, you saw a large part of them expire there. So now we really only have 2 severe thunderstorm warning polygons in the viewing area, which is good news. These storms may be starting to step down a little bit in intensity. We'll watch and see. Marshall County, southeast Murray County, northeast Giles County, that's a severe thunderstorm warning till 2:15. North central areas of Tishomingo County till 2 o'clock, severe thunderstorm warning that goes back into eastern Alcorn County. And then just west of the viewing area, a large part of Prentiss County in Mississippi, just outside the viewing area, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning as well. It's probably these storms that are about to take over to try to be the main threat for the next few hours as they come out of northeast Mississippi into northwest Alabama. However, if we get to a point where we lose these warnings, we will step back away from coverage for a little while and just do social media radar updates and just do quick cut-ins at the top and bottom of every hour. There are no tornado warnings in effect at this time. Tornado watch still in effect until 3 a.m. for southern middle Tennessee, until 5 a.m. for northwest Alabama and northeast Mississippi. I hear you guys talking over there and powwowing. What you guys got going on over there?
We were just talking about just keeping an eye on some signatures, and Ben had mentioned in Wayne County, as these storms continue to move south and east. We still do have some pretty decent little signatures here, right? I mean, it's still, the $25 car wash, the one by my house goes up that high, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that number out. Really torrential here. And on our live radar, we do kind of see the front edge of it, and it does have a little bit of a, a kind of gusty wind signature there.
Wait.
Oh, sure.
But is that your gust front right there?
Yes, and that's what I was actually about to mention.
So we're elevated with that thunderstorm, if that's the case then.
Well, I was about to mention we have this outflow kind of ahead of it, and the closer you get to the radar, the lower the winds tend to get.
Yeah.
So even still, let's go ahead and just do a little queries here. We're talking 40s, 50s, so below the severe criteria out here, but still a decent little gust here for a strong thunderstorm.
If they're able to get all the way down in that last little layer all the way to the surface.
500 feet makes a lot of difference
Yes.
in this case for sure. But we were just talking about that there, but of course that's below severe criteria even on the face of it there. But otherwise, up here you notice it's becoming a lot more scattered.
Yeah.
So it's really not too shocking that they let that.
And notice
fire.
the structure in Marshall is a lot more degraded. It's not nearly as impressive of a bow echo anymore, even on the next rad.
I'll go ahead and throw you back.
Yeah, it's a lot more messy. There aren't any really strong wind signatures there that really stand out. Storms merging into the forward flank of it. It's just messy there. That's turning into more of a heavy rain situation. And it already didn't produce much wind when it was more organized back in the Giles County. And we had it come across several of our live sensor sites. So that's starting to become good news as well. Focus may indeed be shifting back into northeast Mississippi. So let's go to GWX and let's look at some of these storms back in northeast Mississippi. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings for these storms out here northwest of Cherokee to Waterloo to Cypress Inn. They've let that go. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Tishomingo County back near the Burnsville area to Iuka northward for these storms, and then back into Prentiss County. I'll tell you, the strongest part of all that is what's approaching Highway 45 in Prentiss County coming up on the Booneville area. That may be the storm you really have to watch here over the next several minutes. Let's go to base velocity.
I think you can actually sort of see the outflow. You see when you're a little bit closer to the radar here, you can kind of see that boundary out ahead of these.
Yes.
Effect, yeah.
And they're not quite as far out ahead of the Prentiss storms as they are up in here in Alcorn and Tishomingo and up into northwest Alabama. And we got a new warning here for northwest Alabama for Colbert and Lauderdale. So that's going to run until 2:30. So we'll slide over and wait for the polygon to come in.
Yeah, we'll see which one that is here. I'll kind of center it up right around here-ish just to see how much of the county we capture.
All right, so that's going to be the Quad Cities at this point. It does include Florence, Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, and Sheffield. New severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30. It's actually for hail. It's not for straight line winds that prompt severe warning. They think that the wind is 50 or under based on the warning, but they think that hail is quarter sized. So let's just do an overall track here along just the leading edge of the overall storm segment and go east. Let me get the storm speed on this. They've got it moving east at 35. Let's go 40.
Here you go.
All right, here's some times of arrival. 151, Gravelly Springs, 152, Lane Springs, 152, Cloverdale, 156, Rhodesville, 157, Central Heights, 201, Smithsonia, 202, Zip City, 203, Oakland, 206, Wilson, 206, Jacksonburg, 211, Underwood, Petersville, 213 to 214, Green Hill, get ready to scroll down.
Yep.
Green Hill, 215, St. Florine at 217, and then Bailey Springs at 218, Florence at 219. So I will tell you between 215 and 220, also Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, Sheffield, even though they're not listed in the marquee. St. Florine, 217, Bailey Springs, 218, Florence, 219, Parkertown, 221, Arkdale, 222, Lakeview, 224, Killen, 225, Lexington, 227, Ford City and Center Star, 232, Kingtown, 232, Grassy, 232, and Aqua Vista, 233. I will tell you now, we will stay here for a little bit with these because we want to treat everybody equally. However, they don't think that these are producing the type of winds to warrant a severe thunderstorm warning. The severe thunderstorm warning is for hail. So we're going to watch this come across our Cherokee sensor. We're going to watch it come across a couple of the sensors out west of Florence to see what the wind speeds look like. We're going to wait to see if we see some hail reports. If this turns into more, you're not going to see much on there. If it's not one of the HDR cameras just yet, it's not upgraded. It's on the way, but it's not upgraded. If we don't see any real evidence of wind damage from this, and if we don't see any verification of the severe size hail, we may step back away from coverage from this one because it's much more of a marginal situation. And we don't want to discredit anything and make you think that you're all right when you might not be. But we've seen several of these storms that look more impressive than this come across our sensor sites and not produce much wind at all. We'll stay here live for wind damage overnight, but if it's just pea to dime size hail, you're inside away from windows because most of you are in bed or in the living room, whatever. You're already sheltered where you need to be anyway if that's the case.
It's a new one for Lawrence and Wayne until 2:30. So I'll back you out here just a bit so we can.
It's for the storm that's coming over Cypress End, Fairview to Collinwood. They're prompting a new severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30. It's going to be southeastern Wayne and probably southern Lawrence. We'll get the polygon. Yep.
There we go.
It does go up to Lawrenceburg, but unless that moves more northeast, I think the storm is going to stay south of Lawrenceburg. So let's zoom in a little bit. Polygon technically comes up to Lawrenceburg, but it's mainly going to be West Point, back to Collinwood, Crossroads, Fairview, Holly Creek, Iron City, St. Joe, Loretta, the Busby area, Leoma, Gum Springs, Crossroads, Union Hill, 5 Points, and Bonnertown. But as far north as Pea Ridge and Lawrenceburg, the potential for some 60-mile-per-hour winds. They're not highlighting hail. They're highlighting the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds. We already know this environment has had some rain-cooled air, and it's elevated. So we'll see how that goes. We're not going anywhere for the next several minutes. We are going to see how the storms behave, but I think that 60-mile-per-hour wind expectation may be a little questionable considering how more favorable looking storms with more favorable ingredients have already failed to produce those type of winds over the past 30 to 45 minutes. We'll watch it. I want you to stay inside away from windows. I want you to do the right thing with the severe thunderstorm warning. It's getting a little more questionable whether that will actually produce the wind damage it's supposed to. We'll continue to watch it here over the next several minutes to see how that goes.
So just stepping off here.
What you watching?
I was looking at the watch getting trimmed back, and if my eyes don't deceive me,
Harden County's clear.
Yep, we've also lost Harden, so we're starting to see those threats chip away from west to east slowly but surely, but by no means are we done yet. But some of us in the western counties, especially Lewis County already, and of course now Harden County out there, starting to lose those tornado watches. So some good news out there right now. But in the meantime, we still do have those pretty substantial severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing across the area, especially in northeast Mississippi. Those seem to be the kind of dominant ones right now, at least in terms of their intensity. We were just talking about the southern middle Tennessee ones, and slowly but surely, I think southern portions of Tishomingo will probably have that here in due time, as that still down there at the kind of tail end Charlie, if you will, is starting to move on in.
Yeah, I think the strongest storm on the board right now is the one coming across Booneville, Mississippi.
Yeah, I would agree.
We're not wanting to discredit the storms that have prompted the new warnings in southern Wayne County and northern Lauderdale County and such, but out of all of these, I think the highest chance of large hail and wind damage is probably with the one back in Prentiss County, Mississippi. But you can already see, even in a more favorable environment, you can see that outflow boundary running out ahead of these. These storms, for the most part, are elevated now, and the environment out ahead of them is more of an elevated environment. So I do think, honestly, with time, the wind damage threat, it's not zero by any means, but I think it's stepping down with time, which is certainly good news. We are watching multiple sensors ahead of these storms to see what they do. Again, want to reiterate, new severe thunderstorm warnings here for western and central Lauderdale County, including Florence, Tuscumbia, Sheffield, especially the northern part of Muscle Shoals. That goes until 2:30. New severe thunderstorm warnings for central and southern Lawrence County, Tennessee, southeast Wayne County until 2:30 as well. We still have the severe thunderstorm warnings up over northeast Giles and up into Marshall counties in Tennessee, but I can tell you those storms are shifting out of the viewing area. This threat is ending for our viewing area. And then here, for another 3 minutes, we still have northern Tishomingo County, Mississippi, under a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're just here in a wait and see mode to see how the storms behave over the next few minutes. No signs of a tornadic circulation or anything of that nature.
Yes, indeed. Very good. Just checking a couple things.
We will be here live as long as it takes, as long as we have credible signatures that there may be wind damage. However, if it looks like these storms are just not going to do it, we will scale the coverage back, because there's no reason in beating a dead horse and getting your anxiety high when the storms are not producing damage. We judge all these on a case-by-case basis, especially with severe thunderstorm warnings. So if we think there's a credible threat of damage, we'll be here. Either frequent cut-ins, or like we have tonight to help your anxiety so that we're just here with nonstop coverage. If things look more marginal to where you might see pea to dime size hail at the worst, you might see a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust that can't even knock down a tree limb in your yard, us being here will probably trigger your anxiety, because there's nothing life-threatening going on, and you might get the wrong message by us being here. So we judge all this on a case-by-case basis. We're going to watch the storms moving through over the next few minutes, see how they behave, and then we will make a decision on whether we're going to go back to frequent off and on cut-ins or whether we're going to stay live nonstop. And as we go quiet for a few minutes, again, this is us absorbing new information that's coming in and checking for new information as well.
I did see a couple more reports of trees down in Murray County, so that kind of reinforces our point earlier about the damage up there.
Right.
But otherwise, not too much on board.
They are going to do a replacement severe thunderstorm warning in Prentiss County. I imagine that might include Tishomingo, even though they haven't said that yet, because you know how that often goes with that office. Not to run a shade, but you know that. And as I say that, there you go. New severe thunderstorm warning that not only includes Prentiss that they called out, but also southeastern areas of Alcorn and almost all of Tishomingo. That is going to go until
3 on the dot.
3 a.m.
Pretty good hail core there.
That is mainly for the storms back here near Booneville. So even though the polygon goes up to Burnsville and Iuka, the main focus here is going to be Hallcut, Midway, Tishomingo, the Mingo area, Bloody Springs, down to Dennis and Belmont. And we'll go ahead and throw Moore's Mill in there, but keep in mind that these storms are behind the gust front too. So even though we're watching out for 60-mile-per-hour straight line winds, it may be a little harder to do that now. They're flagging a tornado possible. Until that storm gets out ahead of its gust front, that's probably not going to happen. It's elevated in rain, cool air. Even if a rotation shows up on radar, it's going to have to be a really, really, really strong, well-organized rotation to produce a tornado at ground level when it's back behind its gust front in the rain, cool air. We will watch for $1.25 to $1/2 size hail, which I think may be ongoing there on Highway 45, Booneville and a little southward. Let's do that dual pole hail button. And yep, it does detect some bit of hail. Now the exact size, we don't know, but that is dual pole pretty much telling you there's hail. We could look at other products like differential reflectivity and stuff. This algorithm does that for us, and it flags areas where the dual pole data thinks is hail and colors it in white. And you see that back over the Booneville area. That's going to be coming out here toward the Tishomingo area and adjacent communities over the next 30, 45 minutes. So let's do a general track just ahead of that and I'll say east, southeast at about 40, 45 miles an hour.
About this.
Yeah, something like that. All right. For that hail core back there on the south side of Booneville, altitude 203, Blythe's Chapel 209, New Hope 212, Payton, Mississippi 216, Tishomingo 222, Bishop 226, Mingo 228, Burnstown 229, Minot 223, Bloody Springs 233, and Newsom Springs 242. So if this holds together, that will be knocking on the door of the Alabama-Mississippi state line right around 230 or so, and there will probably be additional severe thunderstorm warnings into more of Colbert County and probably Franklin County as we go along, if that storm does indeed hold together.
I'm checking.
Yeah, Drew notes that at the Columbia site, winds have shifted to the northwest well ahead of the line of thunderstorms. That double dog confirms to us that the storms are elevated here. It will be significantly, and I mean significantly, harder for them to produce wind damage. He is watching some of the other sensor sites in Lauderdale County that aren't owned by us, that are just like community sensor sites for live wind speed data, and we're watching our sensor sites to judge what the wind speeds are in Lauderdale and northwest Colbert counties. We'll back the radar back up in there. And the stronger thunderstorms stretch from just north of Cherokee up to Central Heights to Zip City to Fairview to West Point, and they are moving eastward at about 40 to 45 miles an hour. The more I look at this, the more I think the strongest storms are staying south of Lawrenceburg from this cluster that has the severe thunderstorm warning. If there's wind damage with that, it's going to be coming across the Loretto area over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Then out to the Union Hill area and adjacent communities, 10 to 20 minutes. So let's do a storm track from just ahead of that and then east at about 40 to 45. Get some times of arrival in there. All right, St. Joe now, Loretto 208, Liberty Grove 214, Leoma 216, Union Hill 217, 5 Points 221, Revelo and Crossroads at 222, Fall River 225, Oak Grove 234, Crescent View 241, Pulaski, if it holds together, 242, Aspen Hill 243, and Ammotown 246. Let's go back into our Lauderdale County storm, and let's do a storm track for this little cluster here. Let's go a little farther so that we catch Florence, because those storms extend down past Smithsonian to the north side of Cherokee. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, something like that. That's fine. All right, so Wilson now, Jacksonburg 209, Underwood, Petersville 209, Green Hill 212, St. Florine 214, Bailey Springs at 216, Florence at 218, Parkertown 220, Killen 221, Arkdale 221, Lexington 224, Lakeview 227, Center Star 228, Aqua Vista 228, Grassy at 230. The potential, they've flagged this for quarter-size hail and 50-mile-per-hour winds. I can tell you the hail signature, what little bit of one there might have been, it's already weakened some. Let's clear the track, do the dual-pole hail product. And yeah, I don't see any signs of hail in that storm. That's likely heavy rain, maybe 30, 40 mile per hour winds coming through Central Heights, Cloverdale, and then a lot of lightning. Yeah. And then other stronger thunderstorms out there on the east side of Iuka that are about to be rolling down Highway 72 into Marjoram and Cherokee over the next few minutes. But again, that outflow, the cool outflow has already come out ahead of all those storms. That means it's going to be hard, really hard for those to produce damaging straight line winds. So honestly, these may not be producing damage at the ground. I don't want you to ignore the warnings, but they may not be producing damage at the ground.
Taking a look at a few off-camera sources like our live radar. It's kind of got that Boeing shape in Lawrence County. Matter of fact, I'll switch you to it here. It's on links 1, and that's the front edge of it here. We're not too attenuated, right? We do see that there moving into southwestern Lawrence County, and it does have that shape, right? I mean, it does have that Boeing shape, but we're not seeing anything that screams, look right here, you're going to get trees down everywhere. Still, you do want to take this seriously. You don't want to be outside, for this, goodness forbid, at 2 in the morning or next to windows, right? That's kind of standard severe weather precautions. But, scanning this low, especially as it gets closer and closer and lower, you start to see that kind of elevated shape to it, as you were mentioning earlier here.
Yeah, and Drew reports that as the storms have come across Central Heights and such, and again, the max wind has already moved in these areas, 13 miles per hour.
Okay, yeah. So
I mean,
reinforces our theory
yes.
there earlier for sure. It's going to get harder and harder for these to translate down. Very, very much so indeed. Let's see. And it's kind of a tricky thing because these elevated storms, they sure sound loud.
Yes.
Especially with that inversion layer, with all that lightning. These things will sound very much worse than they are. All bark, a little less bite than perhaps you might think.
Here's the way this works, because a lot of people don't understand this, and a little bit of it is they don't want to because they know what they hear outside and they don't care what I say. But when you have elevated storms like this, where you have the surface is cooled by rain-cooled air, and then a couple hundred feet above that there's warm air that's warmer than the surface temperature, you can't get those winds to really effectively get down through that layer and down to the surface. Just like you can't get rotation to spin up through that from the ground into the updraft to do a tornado. It's not impossible, but it takes thunderstorms a much stronger magnitude than what we have on the radar right now to do it, which is evidenced with ground-based reality sensors. What happens is sounds really loud outside because the rain's really heavy, and then you have a lot of frequent lightning because there's still all that instability and storm fuel up above that shallow, cool layer at the surface that still feeds the thunderstorm. It just can't get the damaging wind to the ground. But when the lightning strikes hit the ground, they warm that air and expand it and create thunder. Well, on a day when you don't have that inversion, it's the middle of the afternoon, those sound waves are able to just reverberate out into space without any problem. When you have that inversion layer, it's the same thing as you're talking on a two-way radio, and those sound waves bounce with the inversion. Thunder does it too, and so those sound waves from the thunder are trapped closer to the ground for longer. That's why the thunder sounds louder. That's why it rumbles for longer when you have these rain-cooled situations like this. That does not mean, just because it's loud outside, that there's going to be a tornado or a damaging straight-line wind. I want you to understand that, and a lot of people kind of refuse to because they know what they hear outside. But honestly, when you have these situations where there's really loud thunder that rumbles on and on and on and doesn't stop like that, that's usually a sign that the temperature profile isn't favorable for wind damage and tornadoes because of that cool, stable surface layer. So it's going to sound loud outside. There may be 20, 30, 40 mile per hour winds that drive that rain against your window pane that make it sound loud. That thunder may rumble on forever and it's going to sound loud outside, but that doesn't mean that you need to run to the storm shelter. Oftentimes when you have that thunder rumble on and on and on like that, it's a sign that the atmosphere is kind of shut down to produce the really intense straight line winds and the tornado threat. So we'll still pay attention to the warnings here, but we've seen these roll across several sensors, and the most we can get is 21 miles per hour or under. These just aren't producing that damaging wind. We also have not seen any verification of severe size hail either. These are just really loud thunderstorms moving through. They're not something you need to seek shelter other than being inside out of the rain and away from your windows because of the lightning. They're not something you need to jump in the hallway for. They're not something you need to jump in the storm shelter for. So honestly, with this all being the case, and we know how storm anxiety is, we don't want to be here for too long to make you think that something's more dangerous than it is. So I think here, as of this being the way it is, we're going to scale back from coverage, still do our 30-minute cut-ins. We'll come back sooner if warnings are issued. We'll come back sooner if the storms ramp up. or if we get reports of those higher winds coming down. But I feel like with these storms weakening as they are and not able to produce that wind damage or the tornado threat at this time, honestly, us keep harping on and on and on up here and looking the same way we do when there are tornado warnings, I feel like it gives the false impression if you're just tuning in for the first time. And we don't want you to think there's something life-threatening in terms of wind damage or a tornado going on at this time. So we're going to continue to watch it. Next scheduled live update is at 2:30, but we will come back sooner if needed. And you know our policy here. If any county in the viewing area is issued a tornado warning, we'll be live nonstop until the danger is over. We'll be back at 2:30 sooner if needed. We will also have radar posts on social media tracking the storms even when there aren't warnings. For Chase Wilson and Ben Luna, I'm Fred Gossage, live from the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. Stay with Tennessee Valley Weather. We'll keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather.